Chapter 840. That night Xing Kai came out of the company. As soon as he entered the underground parking lot, he was pressed to the ground by a few men with a sack over his head and beaten up. The other party was obviously ruthless. It was not until Xing Kai could not move that the few of them were afraid that he would die and hurriedly ran away. Xing Kai lay on the ground. At that moment he felt that his body was in so much pain that it was about to split open. He did not need to think too much to know who had sent them. Other than Gu Xiling, who had gone crazy during the day, there was no one else. Thinking of this, Xing Kai clenched his fists. Now that he had been betrayed by his family, he had been pushed into a pit of fire by Gu Xiling's grandfather. His life was worse than death. He did not dare to run away from Jinbo because he did not want to end up like Xing Kai. However, what could he do while curled up in such a small space? What could he do? In his mind, he suddenly thought of the text message from a month ago. Xing Kai lay on the ground and took out his phone from his leather bag. He flipped to the text message with bloodstains on it. I promise you, but I want to borrow Jinbo's hand to make the Gu family suffer a fate worse than death. So wait for me first. The humiliation that Gu Xiling had brought him was enough. Late at night, Mu Qiqi came out of the bathroom and saw Xing Xiao texting someone, so she leaned her little head over. Xing Xiao immediately turned off his phone and looked at her. Didn't we agree that you're not allowed to fool around until you find out what's going on? Then how do I know you're not texting with some beautiful woman? Xing Xiao hugged her and put his phone aside. This one is about to go to heaven. How many more? Am I that free in your heart? I'm just teasing you. I'm a little sleepy. She did not know if it was a psychological effect, but Mu Qiqi felt that pregnant women should be sleepy. Xing Xiao touched her hair and made sure that it was not wet. Then he picked her up and placed her on the bed. Sleep. Sing me a song? This thing's ability to torture people was increasing day by day. You can ask me to tell you a story, but you can't ask me to sing for you. Men all had a bottom line. Mu Qiqi smiled and admitted defeat. Then tell me a story. Once upon a time, there was a high-spirited brigade commander. One day he suddenly received a special military order to escort an important researcher to a research base 300 miles away from the army. Mu Qiqi frowned as she listened. When other people told stories, it was either a sleeper or a Cinderella. In his mouth, it became a brigade commander carrying out a special mission. But how could she know that it was all the truth about her grandfather? Forget it, Master Xiao. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to sleep. Xing Xiao's thin lips curled into a smile. Then he helped Mu Qiqi put down the pillow and turned off the wall lamp. Only then did he leave the bedroom and go to the study. Mu Qiqi's head was spinning. Unexpectedly, the psychological effect was quite effective. She quickly fell asleep and slept very soundly. In the study, Xing Xiao made a call for help. Soon, the people from the hospital found the place where Xing Kai had fainted and sent him to the hospital. That's right. It was Xing Xiao who sent the message a month ago. The only ones who can give you dignity and protect your life are your family and me. If you come back, I'll let bygones be bygones and give you a path with dignity. There are no conditions. Xing Kai had thought about this message for a month. Although he did not want to admit it, deep in his heart, he believed Xing Xiao's words because no one kept their promises as much as Xing Xiao did. However, he felt ashamed. Moreover, he had long since thought that he and the Xing family were from the same world. However, Gu Xiling's provocation made him suddenly realize that if this continued, he would die outside sooner or later. No one could stop him. At midnight, Jinbo's car arrived at the hospital. He had received news that Xing Kai had been hospitalized. For the past month he had hardly asked about Xing Kai. He had left him to fend for himself. He had thought that he would think of a way to escape, but he did not have any intention of leaving. On the hospital bed, Xing Kai was seriously injured. Jinbo sat beside him, waiting for him to wake up. Are you feeling better? Godfather, Xing Kai called out softly. Why are you here? I didn't come to see you. How badly have you been beaten up? Jinbo said with some heartache. Who did this? Xing Kai sat up with Jinbo's help. Then he opened Xing Xiao's message and showed it to Jinbo. Godfather, Xing Xiao came to win me over. I've thought about it for a month, but I still only want to stay by your side. The Xing family has humiliated me enough. I just want Godfather to value me and trust me. Jinbo read the message and his heart skipped a beat. I didn't expect the Xing family to still care about old ties. They don't care about old ties. They just want to humiliate me just like Gu Xiling. Godfather, take me with you. I just want to follow you. I just want those people who look down on me to see that they're blind to humiliate me. Jinbo thought about it carefully and patted Xing Kai's shoulder. Rest well first. When you recover, come to Godfather's side. I'll teach you personally. Godfather, I still have a presumptuous request. The Gu family has treated me like this. I understand what you mean. When you get better, I'll support you in how you want to deal with the Gu family. Thank you, Godfather. Xing Kai used Xing Zhao's message to exchange for Jin Bo's trust. However, he knew that this was only the most basic. There were more tests ahead. However, this did not matter. At least, it was better than being locked up in a small place like Changrong. For 2 consecutive days, Mu Qiqi did not appear in school. This finally attracted the attention of the students in the faculty. However, Mu Qiqi did not have any friends in school. If they wanted to know about her current situation, they could only ask the dean. She's fine, but she suddenly stopped coming to school. How strange. Could it be that she's been borrowed again? I don't think so. She really treats the school as her home. She can come and go as she pleases. There was a lot of discussion in the school. The dean saw that he could no longer suppress the news, so when he was teaching the students he explained, Mu Qiqi has taken a leave of absence from school. Don't make baseless guesses. She's sick. Besides, this is someone else's private matter. Don't worry about it. Just do your part. Just like that, the news of Mu Qiqi's serious illness spread like wildfire. How serious was her illness to the point of taking a leave of absence from school? Chapter 841. But this thing was innately rebellious and liked to go against the grain. Everyone in the family thought that she was pregnant too early, but she didn't think so. Every day she called Xing Xiao old man, and it became more and more smooth. Not only that, she even said confidently, I'm a medical student. I know very well that having a child when you're younger will help you recover faster and have more energy. You won't be afraid of staying up late to feed the baby. Sheng Zhao's face darkened when he heard that she was going to stay up late. I don't need your help. What do you mean you don't need me? Don't tell me you have milk for the baby? Sheng Xiao did not want to discuss this with her. She was pregnant and she was becoming more and more out of control, blurting out everything. Still, he could not bear to think that she would be trapped in such a huge place for the next few months. She was the only one who enjoyed it. On Sunday morning, it was time for Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup again. Tang Yen was called away by the chief, and she was alone again. Originally, Tang Yen wanted to ask Xiao Xing for help, but Feng Shanshan thought that Mu Qiqi did not have class, so she called her. Are you free? Accompany your godson for the checkup. I'm not going. Mu Qiqi rubbed her belly and smiled when she realized that she had gotten what she wanted. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She felt that Mu Qiqi was a little strange. What's wrong with you? What are you giggling about? We're in the same boat now. I'm even more pitiful than you. I'm grounded at home. I can't even go to your house. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. No matter how she listened, she could not detect any discomfort in Mu Qiqi's tone. She reacted for a moment. Although Mu Qiqi did not say it explicitly, she still felt that she had guessed correctly. You're also pregnant? Yes, exactly 1 month. Feng Shanshan immediately sat down on the sofa and became excited. Didn't you say that your CEO has made up his mind to wait until you're 24? It was purely an accident. Mu Qiqi was still excited. It had been a few days, but she was still immersed in joy. All right then. Your situation is different from mine. I'll go for a prenatal checkup first. We'll talk when I come back. Since Mu Qiqi could not go down, she could only wait for Feng Shanshan to go up herself. Go. Get someone to accompany you. Don't go alone. Now that she was pregnant, she realized how important safety was. At first, the whole family thought that Mu Qiqi would be bored. But did she look bored at all? Over the next few months, she had planned everything out clearly. She had ordered a lot of tools for learning how to draw, tools for making clothes for the baby, and some handicrafts. When the time came, she would be busier than anyone else. After Feng Shanshan learned that Mu Qiqi was pregnant, she was happy for a long time. She thought to herself, this is what sisters are. They even got pregnant at the same time. However, with Mu Qiqi's situation, Xing Xiao deliberately raised her like a national treasure. Then Feng Shanshan called Tang Yen. In the end, Xiao Xing came over to help and accompanied Feng Shanshan to the hospital. Song Qiaoji saw that Feng Shanshan's complexion was good, so she raised her finger and praised her. You look better. That's right. Pay attention to calcium in your diet. I'm sorry, Dr. Song. I couldn't attend your last lecture. That's nothing. I still have a few more. Song Qiaoji gave her a new activity brochure. Come when you're free. It's okay. After spending so much time together, Feng Shanshan already had enough trust in Song Qiaoji. She felt that Dr. Song was really beautiful and kind-hearted. Therefore, the next time Song Qiaoji gives a lecture, she plans to bring Tang Yan along to listen to it seriously. After the prenatal checkup, Feng Shanshan went home anxiously and went to the banyan courtyard. Mu Qiqi was waiting at the door. When she saw the pregnant woman, she was very happy. Is there any problem with the checkup? Yes, the child is fine. What about you? Mine is fine too, Mu Qiqi said proudly. What about the school? You're different from me. Don't you need to go to school? I was dropped out of school. There was nothing I could do about it. I dropped out of school, Mu Qiqi replied casually. I now understand why you could drop out of school for Captain Tang. Xiao Xiao told the public that I was sick and didn't let anyone know that I was pregnant. That's to protect you. Of course. They were both pregnant. Mu Qiqi couldn't hide the smile in her eyes. You're that happy? Of course I'm happy. Think about it. In a few months your family will have a replica of Tang Yin. I'll have a replica of Master Xiao in my family. Isn't that very interesting? Usually I can't bully Master Xiao, but it's okay. I can bully his son in the future. Feng Shanshan's heart was different from Mu Qiqi's because Tang Yin was often not at home. If she had a child, it would be able to distract her and she wouldn't miss that man too much. Since you're pregnant, don't touch forensic stuff. You're a few months pregnant before me after all. You even know how to teach people a lesson. Mu Qiqi kept Feng Shanshan at home for lunch. In any case, it was all a pregnant woman's meal. Fifth aunt was good at cooking and was good at all kinds of medicinal diets. They were clearly things that were difficult to swallow, but in Fifth aunt's hands she could turn them into new things. It could be seen that Xing Xiao was not a servant that he casually hired back then. When Xing Xiao returned from outside, he saw Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi having lunch. For some reason, this thing had been smiling ever since she was pregnant. It had been a few days, but her excitement had not diminished at all. Perhaps because she knew Xing Xiao's doubts, Fifth aunt stood in front of Xing Xiao and said, "Young madam is doing this because of you, sir. Having your flesh and blood is a great joy for her. Because the greatest love a woman has for a man is to want to have a child for him. Young madam is happy from the bottom of her heart." It was unknown where her optimism came from. Even though she knew that she would be locked up in the banyan courtyard for 10 months, she did not look sad at all. How much love did she have? Your CO is back. Feng Shanshan happened to see Xing Xiao standing at the door from where she was sitting. She did not notice him just now, so she did not know how long he had been standing at the door. When Mu Qiqi saw this, her smile became even more natural. Have you eaten? In the past 2 days, Xing Xiao had indeed cleared up all his time to accompany her. In the morning, he had only gone to Zhongting to sign an important contract. After signing it, he rushed back eagerly. In fact, the secretary had already heard the news of Mu Qiqi's illness. From the time Xing Xiao had been at home for the past 2 days, she had deduced that Mu Qiqi's illness was probably true. "CO Miss Qiqi, are you all right?" Xing Xiao had long known that the secretary was a fan of the little thing, so he replied, "I need to rest for a few months. Then please ask her to take care of herself." The secretary was quite worried. Only Zhongting's secretary would be so strange. Chapter 842. Seeing that Xing Xiao seemed to have something to say, Feng Shanshan was very tactful. "I'm almost done eating. It's time for me to go back. I won't see Tang Yan when he comes home. Let Fifth aunt send you down." Mu Qiqi stood up. "No need. I'm not so bad that I can't even walk." With that, Feng Shanshan left the table and walked towards the door. When Fifth aunt saw her, she quickly followed to send her off. The living room instantly quieted down. Xing Xiao walked to Mu Qiqi's side and rubbed the little thing's head. "Don't smile at everyone. It looks silly." "I'm happy." She was so happy. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He thought that he was never a person who liked to be sad, but after being with this thing for a few years, his emotions seemed to have long been controlled by her. "Let's go back to the Xing family for dinner tonight, Can't you just tell the old man? I don't want to cause too much trouble. The others are too talkative," Mu Qiqi could not help but say. She did not trust the rest of the Xing family, especially sixth brother. "I have to find a time to inform my aunt. These are all my dearest people. I want to share this good news with my dearest people. I'll arrange it." This little thing's excitement would probably last for a long time. Forget it, how could he not be happy? This little thing was pregnant with his child and had his blood in her stomach. How could he not be happy? He had never thought that there would be such a day when a family of 3 was like the most beautiful picture in the world. Because the little thing that was about to be born in a few months was half his blood, and the other half was from the woman he loved the most. This was amazing, wasn't it? It turned out that love would really bear fruit in the end. More importantly, according to Fifth Aunt, the highest price a woman could pay to a man was to be willing to give birth to a child for him. How much did Cheer love him to the point of no regrets that she would be so happy for a child? He was going to be a father. In 30 years he had never had such a strange and proud feeling. In the future, there would be an even smaller thing that would rely on him to survive. What are you thinking about? You're so engrossed. Mu-Chi-Chi poked the man's chest as she drank the soup. Why don't we stay at my aunt's place for the night? Can I? I said I won't let you out. Are you not going to move? Xing Zhao's eyes lit up when he saw it. He couldn't help feeling sorry for her. This concerns the safety of you, Daddy, me and the baby. Why should I do it? I'll be very obedient. He was too silly. Xing Zhao did not say anything else. He ate lunch with Mu-Chi-Chi and then took a nap with her. In the afternoon he had a video conference in the study. In the evening he brought Mu-Chi-Chi out. Grandpa Xing did not know that the two of them would suddenly come over for dinner, so he only prepared a lot of Mu-Chi-Chi's favorite dishes. The Sheng family's small kitchen had always been excellent. Mu-Chi-Chi thought about it and liked the Sheng family's dinner very much. Eighth brother, you came back so suddenly. Nothing to say? Old Sheng thought that something was up with Huang Yao. Otherwise, that thing would never go to a temple without a reason. No, I just want to eat, Xing Zhao answered lazily as he put one hand on Mu-Chi-Chi's chair. Old Sheng snorted and pointed at him. After you're done eating, come to the study and play chess with me. Don't cry if you lose. It had been many years since the grandfather and grandson had such a harmonious time playing chess. The other members of the Sheng family did not see anything unusual. After dinner they all went back to their rooms. In the study, old Sheng looked at Xing Zhao expectantly. There was a deep meaning in his eyes. Tell me what's the matter. In the end he was his grandson. He had watched him grow up and he knew very well what kind of temper Xing Zhao had. It's nothing. I just came to tell you that you've leveled up. Xing Zhao said proudly to old Xing, holding the little one's hand beside him. What level? Old Xing did not understand for a moment. Mu-Chi-Chi patted her belly when she saw that. Old Xing immediately understood when he saw that. You're pregnant just like that? What do you mean just like that? Mu-Chi-Chi was dissatisfied with the old man's choice of words. I never thought that I would be able to see the birth of eighth brother's child in my lifetime. The old man became happy. With your temper in the past, I thought that you would never have children in this life. It's a secret. There's no need for the other Xing family to know about it, lest it causes unnecessary trouble. Old Xing knew the gravity of it and nodded. You're a man who's going to be a father now. You're more mature and thoughtful than before. I have nothing to worry about. I'm just worried that this girl is too naughty. Old man, you have to speak with your conscience. Mu-Chi-Chi rolled her eyes at him. Now that you have a child and Huang Yao is developing well, my wish has been fulfilled. Even if I leave now, I won't have any regrets. The only thing that makes me sad is... Old Xing smiled bitterly and stopped talking. However, both Mu-Chi-Chi and Xing Zhao knew what his ellipsis meant. Sheng Kai had always been a thorn in the old man's side, and there was no way to get rid of it. Eighth brother, take good care of this girl in the future. She's suffered a lot because of me. Whether she gives birth to a boy or a girl, my shares will belong to my great-grandson. No one can have any ideas about it. To be honest, did Mu-Chi-Chi care? Not at all. But it was the old man's intention. Moreover, he had apologized to her on various occasions, so the grudge between the two of them was long gone. Tell me how bad your taste was. Old Sheng couldn't help but laugh. Alright, it's getting late. Let's go home and rest. Xing Zhao gave Su Zipei a call before he left the house. After leaving Xing Mansion they went straight to the small mansion. Mu-Chi-Chi was a little nervous at the thought of meeting her aunt. Moreover, there were many memories of her and Xing Zhao in the small mansion, especially the trees outside. In the past, Xing Zhao would always wait for her down there and they would secretly go out on dates. Is there any place you want to go after visiting your aunt? Xing Zhao asked Mu-Chi-Chi in a low voice on the way to the small mansion. I'm a little sleepy. Mu-Chi-Chi leaned against the front passenger seat and closed her eyes to choose a comfortable position. She fell asleep before they reached the small mansion. Xing Zhao did not wake her. He just slowed down the car so that she could sleep more peacefully and comfortably. When they reached the small mansion, Xing Zhao carried her inside. Su Zipei was shocked when she saw him. What's wrong? She's just asleep, Xing Zhao answered in a low voice. Chapter 843. Perhaps it was because she smelled the familiar scent, Mu-Chi-Chi slept even more soundly. She found a comfortable position and showed no signs of waking up. Su Zipei saw Xing Xiao sitting by the bed helplessly, so she immediately said, "Young Master Sheng, let me do it." "No need." Xing Xiao rejected her softly. Then he put Mu Qiqi's hand back under the blanket and adjusted the temperature in the room. Su Zipei was worried that Xing Xiao could not take good care of the pregnant woman. Now that she thought about it, she was worrying too much. Then the two of them turned off the lights and left the room. "Have you had dinner?" Su Zipei asked quickly. "I've made some soup. I'll get a bowl for Xiaoqi when she wakes up." "Okay." Xing Xiao nodded. "Will Xiaoqi have adverse reactions like morning sickness?" Xing Xiao shook his head. "Not yet. There are people at home to take care of her diet, so you don't have to worry too much, Aunt Zipei." Hearing the word, aunt, Su Zipei was a little dazed. But after a while, she said with a smile, "That's because I'm too nervous." When her mother was pregnant with her, she felt uncomfortable for a few months. "I'm afraid that Xiaoqi will be like her mother. But with you here, I don't have to worry too much. Wenhua isn't back yet. I still have to coax the child. You might have to sit by yourself." After going downstairs, Su Zipei apologized to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao didn't think much of it. "I'll walk around." "That's good. Everything here hasn't changed much from when you left." When Xing Xiao walked out of the villa, he suddenly thought of the scene when he drove his flashy sports car and stopped in front of the villa. He used a stone to knock on the glass of the little one's room upstairs. Now that little one was pregnant with his child and was lying quietly in the room, resting. How could he have known that he would be so addicted to that little one? Mu Qiqi slept soundly. But when she woke up in her aunt's house, she couldn't help but be in a daze. When she woke up, she didn't see Xing Xiao. Mu Qiqi quickly got up, but when she saw the familiar furnishings in the room, she suddenly smiled. Here she had spent the most difficult days of her crush. Looking down from the window, Mu Qiqi found Xing Xiao under the tree below. In the past, she had also looked forward to seeing that man downstairs from this place every day. Now that she thought about it, her heart was still moved. A moment later, Su Zipei entered the room with the chicken soup. "You're awake?" "Aunt Zipei." Mu Qiqi quickly went up to her and asked for a hug. "You're going to be a mother soon, but you're still acting like a child. Young Master Sheng has spoiled you." Su Zipei let her hug the baby and handed her the chicken soup. "Drink it." "Did I marry the right person?" Mu Qiqi held the chicken soup in her hands and looked like she was asking for praise. Seeing that, Su Zipei smiled. "Back then young Master Sheng was so frivolous. I thought that you would suffer if you followed him. After all, a man like him can have any woman he wants. That's why I was very worried when you two got together. But after seeing the two of you together over the last few years, I feel that young Master Sheng is the one who has sacrificed more, which is why I think you're really lucky. Young Master Sheng is, aunt, no one would despise their niece like this." Mu Qiqi's eyes were a little sad. "Now that you're a mother, don't be willful. Think more about young Master Sheng, understand? Sai, Master Xiao despised me before. I'm the Sheng family's biological child. Now, whether he's in the Shen family or here, he's still your biological child. You can't touch those things anymore, understand? Especially knives. Don't worry, I've already quit school." Mu Qiqi raised her hand and promised. "And I don't know how happy I am now. I'll definitely grasp this happiness tightly." The two of them chatted for a while before Xing Xiao returned. Su Zipei saw that the two of them seemed to have something to say, so she took the porcelain bowl and went out. She closed the door. "You guys should rest. It's very late. What did you do down there?" Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao and asked. "I was very disappointed when I woke up and didn't see you." After saying that, Mu Qiqi hugged Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao hugged her and couldn't help but sigh. "You're so clingy. Then do you want me to be clingy? Go take a shower." Xing Xiao carried her horizontally and the two of them entered the bathroom. It was clearly a thunderstorm, but they couldn't do anything. Seeing that Xing Xiao was holding it in so hard, Mu Qiqi couldn't bear it anymore. She said to him, "Don't hold it in, Xiao Xiao. I don't want you to work so hard. I'll help you." Pregnant people were happy, but at the same time they were dangerous. Feng Shanshan absolutely trusted Dr. Song now, so she handed the activity booklet to Tang Yen. "Do you have time to accompany me to Dr. Song's lecture?" Tang Yen was cleaning up the dishes. When he saw the time of the activity, he nodded. "I'll try my best to accompany you. Is there a big case at the station recently?" Feng Shanshan saw the hesitation in his expression. "If you don't have time, it's okay. I can go by myself." Hearing Feng Shanshan say that, Tang Yen felt guilty. He put down the bowl and chopsticks and held Feng Shanshan's hand. "I'll definitely accompany you. There's no need." When we were together, I said that you can be a police officer. I won't hinder you. It's not a hindrance. I also want to accompany you. All right then. Feng Shanshan nodded. Don't be too tired. When the time comes, I won't be the one feeling sorry for you. Tang Yen patted the back of her hand, indicating that he understood. Then he took the bowl and chopsticks and went to the kitchen. Chi-Chi is also pregnant. You know that, right? That's going to be spoiled to the heavens. Are you envious? Feng Shanshan laughed. That was her life. Others had this life, so it was only right for them to be spoiled. It's enough for me to have you. It had been more than a month since Song Qiaoji came to Jianchuan. She had indeed gradually gained Feng Shanshan's trust, but it had almost worn out Qing Bin's patience. The two of them had a lot of conflicts on the phone. Miss Song, if you don't take action by the end of this month, I'll do it myself. In any case, he had already figured out Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup routine and that the person who was always following her was just a little girl. It wasn't too difficult for him to deal with her. Then do it yourself. I don't plan to do it. I think that mother and son are quite pitiful, Song Qiaoji said indifferently. Anyway, you're the one taking revenge, not me. I should have known that women are unreliable. Damn it, I wasted so much of my time. After saying that, Qing Bin hung up. Song Qiaoji smiled and let Qing Bin do it. Firstly, she could help Feng Shanshan get out of danger. This way she could gain her trust. Secondly, she could also test what kind of strings Tang Yen had set up around Feng Shanshan. Chapter 844. Why didn't he use his brain? How could someone who could make Tang Yen follow him so easily? Song Qiaoji had observed carefully. Although Xiaoxing was very young, she was definitely a martial artist and had good skills. These men always thought that girls, especially little girls, didn't seem to be intimidating. This was pure discrimination. Let him go and mess around. As Song Qiaoji thought about it, she drank red wine alone. After resting in the hospital for a few days, Xing Kai's injuries had mostly healed. That night, after Xing Kai showed Xing Zhao's text message to Jin Bo, he gained Jin Bo's trust. Jin Bo also promised him that he would send someone to settle the matter with the Gu family. Gu Xiling had indeed sent someone, but Gu Xiling had only wanted to vent her anger. She had never thought that Xing Kai would really have the guts to take revenge or bear a grudge. She was just angry that Xing Kai had gotten a woman outside pregnant. After nightfall, Jianchuan had already started to get stuffy. After Gu Xiling and Mama Gu had eaten, they sat in the garden to cool off. Who knew that Xing Kai would go home wrapped in gauze? When Gu Xiling saw Xing Kai's injured appearance, she felt a little guilty. However, it was only for a moment before she regained her original proud look. Who beat you up? Don't you know who beat me up? Xing Kai asked her in return. Xing Kai, don't forget what you've done outside. You and I haven't divorced yet and you've already gotten another woman pregnant. Are you trying to make me a joke? Gu Xiling stood up from the chair. She always had that arrogant look on her face. Xing Kai, it's not that I want to criticize you, but I married the woman to you because I wanted her to have a happy ending. I didn't expect her life to be so miserable after marrying you. Mama Gu also came over to help. You really don't act like a man. I don't act like a man. Why don't you think about who gave me that? After Xing Kai said that, he grabbed Gu Xiling's shirt with his left hand and pushed her to the ground. Today I won't say anything else. You got someone to beat me up. It's only fair that I return the favor. Xing Kai, what do you want to do? Mama Sheng had a bad feeling and her face turned pale. I'll let your daughter have a taste of being seriously injured. Having said that, Xing Kai turned to the people outside the villa. Come in. The third brother was a man dressed in black. He held a wooden stick in his hand and his face was covered. He looked like a professional fighter. Xing Kai, don't do anything rash. This is against the law. Breaking the law? I came here today with Godfather's permission. You will take care of everything for me. Xing Kai answered Mama Sheng while stepping on Gu Xiling's body. Didn't the Gu family dig this pit for me? Let's jump together now. Do it. It was not difficult for the three men to deal with the two women. Not only that, these men also destroyed the Gu family. Gu Xiling did not know how many times she had been kicked. She only felt as if her lower abdomen was being torn apart. I know you look down on me. Since that's the case, why should I endure it? Gu Xiling, let me tell you, don't point fingers in front of me in the future. Otherwise, don't blame me if I hit you too hard one day. Gu Xiling was trembling all over, but she did not have the guts to resist. She was also afraid of death. Especially when she felt that Xing Kai was inhumane as if he had been possessed by a devil. Gu Xiling could only support herself on the ground and sob softly. Because she knew what fear was. Kai had never seen her so pitiful before. He finally smiled. I was too good-tempered to you in the past. From now on, I won't be like that anymore. Gu Xiling resisted the urge to call the police. She could only watch Kai walk away before taking out the phone with the broken screen. However, Mama Gu stopped her. Are you crazy? You're calling the police? Mom, I'm calling the police now. Didn't you hear what he said? This is all allowed by your godfather. Do you want your grandfather to come back and beat you to death? Gu Xiling touched the blood on the bridge of her nose and smiled helplessly. I just married a beast. You're also at fault. Why do you always humiliate him? How can you stop a man when he goes crazy? I'm not wrong. He's incompetent. He's incompetent. But Gu Xiling did not dare to say these words in front of Kai. In the future, be careful when dealing with him. At this point, he hasn't said anything about divorce. I won't leave either. I just want to see who can outlast the other. Gu Xiling was obviously saying these words out of anger. She had already invested too much in this relationship. She had lost everything. How could she leave now? Impossible. If she had to die, she would die together. Gu Xiling was sent to the hospital, and Grandpa Gu called Jinbo. Wasn't Kai being too presumptuous? Jinbo did not think much of it. After all, Kai was a tiger without teeth in the past. Now that he had been provoked by Gu Xiling, wasn't that a good thing? In the past, Kai felt that it was boring to use him. He was not decisive in doing things and he did not have the guts. But now it was different. Kai, after you rest for a few more days, go out with Godfather for a meal. Godfather will introduce you to more friends and let you expand your career. Thank you, Godfather, Kai replied over the phone. We're both father and son. What are you thanking me for? It was great to be able to borrow Jinbo's hand to make the Gu family obedient, but Kai did not forget what Jinbo did. After putting down the phone, Kai sent another message to an unfamiliar number. Jinbo, I don't know your real name. He's planning for Deputy Mayor Liang and has adopted many orphans for something. Xinyu is one of them. Now Qingbin wants to make a move on Tang Yen, but he has a helper. I'm not sure who he is. After sending it, he immediately deleted the message. Not long after, two subordinates who claimed to have been sent by Jinbo followed Kai. Kai knew that rather than saying that they were here to help him, it would be better to say that they were here to monitor him. There were some quagmires that you could not fall into, but since you had fallen into them, there was no turning back. Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi to stay in the small villa for 2 days. Seeing that her face was rosy and she was still immersed in excitement, Sheng Xiao faintly curled his lips. I know. Zhongting is very busy. You've been with me for 2 days. Go back to work. On the way home, Mu Qiqi said to Sheng Xiao considerately, I know. I'm looking for something to do at home. For example? Painting, making toys for the baby. Anyway, I'm very busy. You should go and do your work too. Don't disturb me. Mu Qiqi thought of the pile of things she had bought a few days ago. It was enough for her to work for 10 months. Are you really willing to not leave the room? I'm willing, Mu Qiqi answered seriously. Mu Qiqi answered seriously. Then she leaned on his shoulder. Aunt Zipei said that you're the only one who's sacrificing after we got together. So I reflected on myself. Am I really that bad as a wife? Chapter 845. So, I want to be more considerate. Sheng Xiao hugged her with one arm and said calmly, there's no need. Sheng Xiao, I'm an adult now. Can you trust me a little more? After Sheng Xiao heard this, he pinched her face. What did you call me? Hubby, let go. I asked Su Che to find some books related to forensics for you to pass the time, Sheng Xiao said to Mu Qiqi before getting out of the car. In fact, he was the only one in this world who understood her the best. Reading these when you're pregnant, will it be bad for the prenatal education? With you around, I don't expect good prenatal education. With that, Sheng Xiao took a long step back to the car and instructed Su Che, go to Zhongting. If he did not deal with it for 2 days, the work had already piled up like a mountain. By the way, check up on Jinbo. Su Che was surprised but he did not ask. Understood. After Mu Qiqi returned home, she moved all the handicrafts out of the storeroom. When Fifth Aunt saw this, her legs went soft. Little ancestor, you can't move heavy things now. You're scaring me to death. It's fine. They're all very light things. Mu Qiqi's eyes were bright. Ever since she became pregnant, she had been in high spirits every day. What do you want to do? Make a small wooden horse for the baby and some toys. After Mu Qiqi said that, she opened the packaging of the boxes. Thinking about how she was a forensic doctor and could play with the scalpel so beautifully, it should not be difficult for her to pack things. Fifth aunt did not disturb her and let her sit in the living room. That was good. Otherwise she would get sick from staying at home every day. Fifth aunt, when you have time, tell me about medicinal cuisine. I want to learn. Let me make it clear first. If you want to learn you can, but you can't enter the kitchen. Fifth aunt had made a rule with her beforehand that she had to be scalded and touched in the study. She could not afford this responsibility. I won't go. As long as it was related to the child, Wuxia was very obedient. Young madam, now that the baby is here, we should prepare a baby room. However, there's only a bedroom and a study upstairs. Should we put it downstairs? With fifth aunt's reminder, Wuxia felt that it was time to consider it. If it was placed downstairs, it would definitely be inconvenient for her to feed the baby when it was born. But if it was upstairs, then change the cloakroom for me and Xiao Xiao. Anyway, it's just a matter of having one more small bed. The baby can't leave me before he's 2 years old. She thought the child was 2 years old. We need to prepare that as soon as possible. But it's not convenient for me to go out and buy them. Wuxia thought about it and decided to solve it online. But when she thought about it, it was not convenient to have it delivered. Madam, and I can do this for you. Although Wuxia wanted to set it up herself, she gave up when she thought about safety. After the baby's room was settled, Wuxia continued to make her handicrafts. However, in the middle of the afternoon she received a call from Lu Qianqian. Chichi, are you sick? Where did you hear the news? My former classmate. I met him today. He's also in Xingting University. He said that you've taken a break from school and are recuperating at home. What happened to you? Lu Qianqian called Wuxia when she got the news. Could be seen that she was her best friend. I'm not sick. I'm pregnant. Wuxia smiled and said in one breath. Xiao Xiao didn't let the outside world know about this, so he asked me to say that I'm sick. Pregnant? Lu Qianqian almost screamed in front of her subordinates. I'll drive over tonight to see you. Okay. Wuxia nodded and agreed. Then you go ahead, CO. We'll talk about it tonight. Okay. After the two of them hung up, Wuxia immediately said to fifth aunt, there are guests coming tonight. Fifth aunt might have to trouble you to prepare a sumptuous dinner. It's a small matter. Leave it to me. Wuxia didn't want everyone to know about it, but it seemed that she would feel like an outsider if she didn't tell her good friends. Moreover, Qianqian was someone she could trust. That evening, Lu Qianqian drove a red Ferrari to the Banyan courtyard. Seeing Wuxia's domestic appearance, she couldn't help but sigh. You're no longer that 17-year-old girl, Xiao Lu, you're becoming more and more like a capable female Xiao now. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Lu Qianqian immediately looked at her lower abdomen. It hasn't been long since I saw you. You were fine and you're suddenly pregnant? Your family CEO is very efficient. It was purely an accident. Wuxia chuckled. Silly girl, why are you so happy? Look at you. You can't even control yourself at such an important occasion like the inauguration ceremony. If you don't get pregnant, who will? Wuxia felt so embarrassed that even her ears turned red when she heard that. Forget it. As long as my sister is happy, I won't say anything. I bought a small gift for the baby in the car. I'll ask your CEO to bring it down later. You don't even know the gender. Why spend so much money? I'm happy. The two sisters chatted and laughed as they entered the living room. However, at the end of dinner, Xing Xiao did not return home. After dinner, Wuxia was sleepy. Lu Qianqian could tell that she was sleepy, so she got up from the sofa. I won't disturb the pregnant woman's rest. I'm going home. Qianqian, if you meet your classmates in the future, tell them that I'm sick. I'm very sick. Got it. Lu Qianqian hugged Wuxia. Stay at home and take good care of the baby. After Lu Qianqian left, Wuxia went upstairs and fell asleep. It was easy to develop a habit. After more than a month of pregnancy, she shouldn't have had such a reaction. However, Wuxia had a balance in her heart. It would be good for the child if she developed the habit of going to bed early. At 8:30 p.m. Xing Xiao entered the house. He did not see Wuxia and knew that she was asleep upstairs. Sir, you're back. How's Chier today? Xing Xiao took off his coat. The first thing he did was ask fifth aunt about Wuxia's situation. She made some handicrafts in the afternoon and talked about the baby's room. I think she's quite disappointed that she can't go out and buy things for the baby. After Xing Xiao heard this, he first went upstairs to look at the pregnant woman on the bed. After making sure that she was sleeping soundly, he quietly went to the study. The baby's room. It was time to get ready. The next day, Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan agreed to go to Song Qiaoji's lecture. Therefore the two of them got up early. Tang Yin personally drove Feng Shanshan to the medical university, but along the way he hung up on at least 6 or 7 calls. If you're really busy you can go back when we get to school. Feng Shanshan tilted her head and said, the school is full of people. You don't have to worry. Tang Yin did not say anything and turned off his phone. Chapter 846. Song Qiaoji saw Feng Shanshan and her husband from afar, so she smiled at them through the crowd. Feng Shanshan smiled back and sat down. She realized that she was surrounded by pregnant women. Many of them had come on their own. Thinking that her husband was by her side, Feng Shanshan felt much more at ease. Song Qiaoji was indeed very professional. During the lecture she had also solved many of the confusion of many pregnant women. Especially when it came to the diseases that might occur during pregnancy, Tang Yin listened very seriously. From time to time he would use his phone to record down key information. Feng Shanshan's heart warmed when she saw this. The 1-hour lecture soon ended. Feng Shanshan and Tang Yin got up and left. I told you it's very safe. You can go back to the station. I'll send you home first, Tang Yin said consciously. This so-called safety was based on him being here. If Feng Shanshan was alone, Tang Yin would not be at ease. In the future when you go to Dr. Song's place, don't let Xiao Xing come over. She's a police officer, not my personal bodyguard. Can you be a little more selfish? Tang Yin said to Feng Shanshan. Just like before we got together. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She was sensible but he didn't buy it? The couple argued along the way and left. Song Qiaoji looked at their figures from afar from behind. Let's be happy for a few more days, a very happy life. Qing Bin was nearby, but he did not find an opportunity to make a move. Of course, he did not plan to make a move today because he knew Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup time. 1 corpse and 2 lives. He did not know how Tang Yin would feel if he lost these 2 people. In the morning in Jianchuan the sun was shining brightly. Su Che had already found out about Jinbo. While Xing Xiao was not busy, he entered the office and handed him the information. Jinbo, American, 52 years old. According to the information he has 2 sons. He's an entrepreneur who runs an educational organization in the United States. These are all empty shells. Xing Xiao threw them away without looking at them. This isn't his real name. If we want to find out more details we might alarm the other party. Moreover it will take a long time, Su Che replied. Then investigate slowly and carefully, Xing Xiao said calmly. This person is the mastermind behind Baisini's case. Moreover he views the Shin and Xing families as his #1 enemies. I want to know all the news about this person as soon as possible. This news? Where did you get it from? Su Che was a little strange. Xing Kai sent it. Su Che knew that there was someone behind Xing Kai. It turned out to be Jinbo. Also, do something for me tonight. Understood. Su Che did not ask how Xing Xiao could get the information from Xing Kai. For now, the authenticity of the information was more reliable. Could it be that the 2 brothers had privately reconciled? Also, Su Che, if you have time, investigate another person with the surname Song. If they could prove that Jinbo was a member of the Song family, then everything would make sense. Su Che was busy with his work, so Xing Xiao called his secretary over the intercom. Bring Qi here at 4 in the afternoon. All right. Wasn't he sick? The secretary was puzzled but did not dare to ask the big CO. Bring 2 bodyguards. The secretary received the order and set off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When she arrived at the Banyan courtyard, she saw that Mu Chichi was clearly very energetic. Young madam, the president asked me to pick you up. Did he say anything? Mu Chichi looked puzzled. He didn't say. He only asked me to bring you safely. Then let me change my clothes. A moment later Mu Chichi said goodbye to Mama Sheng and went out. It had been a few days since she came into contact with this world. Mu Chichi felt a little absent-minded. After entering Zhongting she stared at Xing Xiao and asked, didn't we agree not to go out? I'll take you somewhere tonight. Mu Chichi raised her eyebrows and saw that Xing Xiao had already asked someone to prepare food and drinks. Go kill some time by yourself. Be good, okay? Before Mu Chichi could nod, she saw Xing Xiao turn around and go to the conference room. He must have been very busy these past 2 days. Mu Chichi obediently sat on the sofa and read a book. She thought that she would have to wait until 8:30 p.m. After all, Xing Xiao had been returning home at this time recently. However, it was just past 7 when Xing Xiao returned to his office and said to her, let's go. Where are we going? Xing Xiao did not say anything. He personally drove Mu Chichi to that mysterious place. Get out of the car. Mu Chichi took a closer look and realized that this was the most high-end mother and baby products store in Jianchuan City. There was no one inside except for the manager in charge. It seemed that CEO Sheng had booked the entire place. Mu Chichi was instantly excited. Yesterday she had just told Fifth Aunt that she did not have the chance to come out and buy things for the baby. "Madam, you can choose anything you want. There are a total of 5 floors here. You can go from the first floor to the 5th floor. I don't even know what to buy when you suddenly call me out like this." Mu Chichi looked at Xing Xiao with some resentment. "If I had known, I would have made a list." Xing Xiao held her hand and took the elevator to the first floor. The first floor is for the baby's daily necessities, including a crib, a baby pillow, and toys. "I want all of these." Mu Chichi looked at the small things and could not help but sigh. She turned around and looked at Xing Xiao. He stopped in front of a crib. Mu Chichi immediately felt that the scene was a little soft, so she took out her phone and took a picture. "Just buy this bed." Mu Chichi walked to Xing Xiao's side and said, "I can tell that you like it." Xing Xiao took the opportunity to hug Mu Chichi's waist and kiss her forehead. "Silly thing, thank you." Mu Chichi was stunned by Xing Xiao's sudden thanks. "I suddenly feel the reality of being a father." "You're welcome, Master Xiao. You must be very happy." At this moment, Xing Xiao's body was much less fierce and there was more gentleness. This was special only when he was facing Mu Chichi. Very happy. The two of them strolled around the mother and baby shop for a long time, but the only thing that really caught Xing Xiao's eye was a bed. The rest were all things useful for mothers. At least they had come to shop. Mu Chichi was satisfied. "I wanted to buy some things for Feng Shanshan, but I was afraid that she would feel uncomfortable, so I decided to forget it." Both of them were pregnant, but Feng Shanshan had no family, and her whole family revolved around her. It was indeed very uncomfortable. "It's good that you know." This thing was still as sensitive as ever. The two of them returned with a full load and they especially liked the bed. Mama Xing also liked it when she saw it. "Eighth brother is more like a father now. He's better than your father." Papa Xing had always felt guilty towards Xing Xiao. When his wife thought of him like this, he felt embarrassed. "Can we not talk about the past?" Chapter 847. It's fine if you buy the bed, but the other things that the child needs, Grandpa will buy. Industrial design, the best understanding of production. That was why Papa Xing could speak so boldly. "Thank you, Dad. There's no need to be so polite. We're family." Papa Xing waved him off, his eyes full of smiles. Then the couple went upstairs. Xing Xiao placed the crib next to the big bed. That way the atmosphere of the family of 3 became even more intense. Mu Chichi hugged him from behind, her little face buried in his back. "It's so blissful that it's unreal. You used to be so shameless. Why are you pretending now?" Xing Xiao turned around and lifted her chin. "Go wash up. It's time to sleep. Are you annoying? I thought you were going to kiss me." Seeing that thing disappear at the door of the bedroom, Xing Xiao slowly curled up the corner of his mouth, his heart extremely warm. Although the school had kept a low profile ever since Mu Chichi took a leave of absence, the outside world had started to make noise about it. Moreover, ever since Xing Xiao arranged for Mu Chichi's leave of absence, the outside world rarely saw Mu Chichi. Was he really seriously ill? When Jin Bo received the news, he could not help but pay attention to Mu Chichi's movements. Because he knew very well how important Mu Chichi was to the Shin family and Xing Xiao. It could not be such a coincidence that she suddenly fell sick. So he called Xing Kai. "Akai, Mu Chichi is seriously ill. Did you get any news?" "I heard about it," Xing Kai answered flatly. "He was meeting a client outside." "You are a member of the Sheng family. You must have the means to find out if this information is true. You know that Mu Chichi is everyone's Achilles heel if we want to bring down the Sheng family. Don't let a good chess piece disappear just like that." "All right, Godfather, I will think of a way to find out." Jin Bo wanted to clear the obstacles for Liang. The number one enemy was the Shin family and Xing Xiao. Mu Chichi's existence was so important. Of course, Jin Bo did not want anything to happen to Mu Chichi. In fact, Xing Kai knew that there was something strange about Mu Chichi's illness. However, if Xing Xiao wanted to prevent Jin Bo from hiding Mu Chichi, it was too early. Moreover, Mu Chichi was not a person who was willing to be tied down, unless she was really sick. Not long after the call with Jin Bo ended, Qingbin called again. "I plan to take action tomorrow. After thinking about it, I don't have anyone else to call, so I can only rely on you. Xiao Xing, I have a younger brother at home called Qing Xia. He's disappointing, but he's still my blood relative. If my plan doesn't succeed, I'll have to trouble you to take care of him." has everything been planned? Xingkai asked calmly. Yes, I can't wait any longer, Qingbin replied. Godfather has sent a helper to you. It shouldn't be a problem. A woman has delayed me for a long time. Qingbin snorted coldly. Xingkai did not ask who it was because that might arouse Qingbin's suspicion. However, Xingkai knew that it was a woman. Go ahead and do it. Leave your brother to me. Xingkai hung up and returned to the banquet. He was hesitating whether he should tell Xing Xiao about it. He was also afraid that this was a trap set up by Qingbin and Jin Bo to test him. After all, Xing Xiao had put forward tempting conditions in order to win him back. He knew that Jin Bo was a very suspicious person. The truth was indeed as he had expected. After Qingbin hung up the phone with Xingkai, he gave Jin Bo a reply. If my plan fails tomorrow, then Mr. Jin, you can also consider crippling Xingkai. Don't use a suspicious person, don't suspect a person you use. I'm just being careful. After all, no matter how much Xingkai hated Xing Xiao, he was still a member of the Sheng family. If he wanted to use people, he had to determine if they were loyal or not. And Miss Song, Mr. Jin, did you really send her to help me? Regarding this, Jin Bo smiled mysteriously. There was no doubt about it. Song Qiaoji had already told Jin Bo about the interlocking plan. If Qingbin failed, she would act as a hero, save Feng Shanshan and gain her trust. Then, while Feng Shanshan was not investigating, she would make her disappear. Tomorrow I wish you success in your revenge. Thank you, Master Jin. Qingbin hung up the phone and gulped down a few mouthfuls of wine. After so many years of grudges, it was time to end it with Tang Yen. Don't blame him for being despicable. Compared to the time when Tang Yen was a spy, he felt that he was much gentler. The next day it was Feng Shanshan's prenatal checkup. Tang Yen had not been on a business trip for several months. The bureau chief could not take the pressure anymore, so he said to him, after accompanying your wife for the prenatal checkup, there's a big case. The higher-ups specifically asked for your assistance. You might be away from home for a few days. We'll talk about it after I accompany her for the prenatal checkup. The bigger Feng Shanshan's belly was, the more Tang Yen did not want to go back to his previous life. The bureau chief could not do anything to him, so he said, Tang Yen, I understand you. There's no one at home to take care of your wife, but you have to understand your identity. In the past few months I've tried my best to make things convenient for you. You have to repay me occasionally. In the past few months, you know the rate of cases solved in our branch. I can even transfer Xiao Xing to be your assistant. I'll get her to take care of your wife while you're away. What do you think? Wait for me to come back. Chief, there's not much time. Seeing Tang Yen disappear, the bureau chief sighed. There was nothing he could do about him. Tang Yen went to the branch office for a morning meeting and drove home to pick up Feng Shanshan for the prenatal checkup. Feng Shanshan more or less knew about Tang Yen's dilemma. The two of them had talked about this more than once. However, this man was too stubborn. Perhaps the bureau chief had done his homework, so Professor Tang rushed over before the two of them left. Your aunt is on the way here. She'll take good care of Shanshan. You can go deal with the bureau chief first. Tang Yen was still hesitant. Go. Are you afraid that your aunt and I won't be able to take good care of her? Of course, Tang Yen did not mean that. Uncle and aunt are both here. They'll accompany me to the prenatal checkup. Don't worry. Feng Shanshan did not want to think about men. She was always in a dilemma. Actually, she was already satisfied that he had accompanied her for a few months. Tang Yen, don't forget that you're also a criminal police officer. Shanshan hasn't been feeling well these few days. Uncle, try to drive slowly. Or I'll get Xiao Xing to come over and send you to the hospital. Feng Shanshan did not know whether to laugh or cry. How many people do you want to surround me? You don't have the right to speak now. Listen to my arrangements, Tang Yen said stubbornly. No matter what happens, call me immediately. Chapter 848. Feng Shanshan couldn't do anything to Tang Yen, so she could only wait for Xiao Xing to come over and take his place. Feng Shanshan didn't know that Xiao Xing was good at martial arts. She just felt that Tang Yen was always making things difficult for the little girl. Then, Professor Tang, his wife, and Xiao Xing accompanied Feng Shanshan to the hospital. However, because Song Qiaoji had something to do today, another doctor examined Feng Shanshan. Miss Feng, Dr. Song asked for leave this morning, but she told us to take good care of you, so don't worry. Feng Shanshan smiled. She felt a little embarrassed with 3 family members by her side. I've read the report. The baby is very healthy and his indicators are normal. When you go back, just pay attention to rest and maintain a happy mood. At home, listen to more music and do prenatal education. But these few days, My heart has been palpitating and uncomfortable. This has something to do with the season. Try to eat a light diet. It's not a big problem. You'll be fine after some recuperation, the other party replied with a smile. Don't worry, the child is fine. Feng Shanshan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard that the baby was fine. Sister-in-law, since you're fine, let's go back. Xiao Xing quickly helped Feng Shanshan up. It's been hard on you. You always waste time accompanying me. Feng Shanshan misunderstood Xiao Xing's meaning. That's not what I meant. I just feel that I have a great responsibility. If I don't send you home as soon as possible, I'll be very nervous, Xiao Xing quickly explained. I think you're very easy to get along with. I don't mean to dislike you. I'm just teasing you. Feng Shanshan smiled. I'm not much older than you. Don't be so serious. Xiao Xing heaved a sigh of relief and patted her chest. Boss's iceberg face scares me. Don't you think it's very charming? Feng Shanshan pretended to be surprised and asked. Xiao Xing was stunned for a moment and shook her head like a rattled drum. When he looks at me, I feel a bone-chilling coldness. Tang Yan was usually serious, so it was no wonder that the little assistant was afraid. Because they didn't understand how cold this man was on the outside but warm on the inside. The three of you wait at the door. I'll go get the car, Professor Tang said to his wife and Feng Shanshan. Then hurry up, Mrs. Tang shouted at the professor. Then she placed her palm on Feng Shanshan's bulging abdomen. Shanshan, I think this is a boy. Auntie, you know how to read? Mrs. Tang smiled mysteriously. After a while, Tang Jiao's car stopped in front of them. Get in the car. Let's go home. They smiled and got into the car, thinking that their mission would be over if they could send Feng Shanshan home safely. However, in the dark, after the security guard saw them leave the hospital, he immediately said to the person on the phone, "We've already set off. Then let's follow the plan." On the way back, the car broke down and stopped halfway. They looked at each other, and the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Mrs. Tang immediately looked at the professor and said, "Hurry up and go down and take a look." The professor immediately opened the door and got out of the car. Then Mrs. Tang explained, "Your uncle doesn't like to drive, so he doesn't usually use the car. He might have a small problem. Don't be nervous." Feng Shanshan wasn't nervous, but Xiao Xing looked around. This was just an ordinary road, surrounded by greenery, and there were no businesses. Therefore, she could not help but hold Feng Shanshan's arm. "It's okay." A moment later, the professor walked around the front of the car and said, "No, we'll probably have to take a taxi." "Then let's take a taxi. It'll be quick." Mrs. Tang helped Feng Shanshan out of the car. Professor Tang called for a tow truck, while Mrs. Tang stopped at the intersection and was about to take a taxi. At that moment, a black car drove over and several men in black got out of the car. When Professor Tang saw this, he immediately ran over and pointed at the 5 men. "What are you doing?" Xiao Xing pushed Feng Shanshan back and said to Mrs. Tang, "Madam, please protect sister-in-law, Xiao Xing." A little girl was facing 5 grown men without any fear. In addition, Professor Tang still had some foundation, so the current situation was 2 against 5. Song Qiaoji was right. Xiao Xing's skills were indeed strong and powerful. She did not lose to men at all. Mrs. Tang's expression changed. She hid to the side with Feng Shanshan. "Shanshan, call the police." Feng Shanshan took out her phone and was about to make a call when another car of men in black quickly arrived and snatched Feng Shanshan's phone. "Xiao Xing, go save Shanshan." "I'll handle this," Professor Tang quickly shouted when he saw Feng Shanshan being held up. This group of people was simply lawless. They actually dared to make a move in broad daylight. However, he did not know that even the car had been tampered with in advance, which was why it broke down halfway. This was what had happened in the hospital parking lot, but he did not know that. Xiao Xing shook off the 3 men who were pestering her and quickly ran in Feng Shanshan's direction. However, Feng Shanshan was about to be stuffed into the car. Xiao Xing was very anxious. She was afraid that the few of them would use force against Feng Shanshan. She was pregnant now and could not withstand such torment. It was precisely because she was pregnant that Feng Shanshan did not make any unnecessary movements when the conditions did not allow it. This was because she knew that she was pregnant with Tang Yan's child. Soon the alarm sounded not far away. The first 5 men immediately climbed into the car and sped away. On the other side, Feng Shanshan was about to be taken away. At this critical moment, a red car suddenly blocked the way in front of the car. Song Qiaoji got out of the car in a white coat and took out the pepper spray she carried with her. She grabbed one of the men and glanced at his eyes. "Come and help." When Feng Shanshan saw another man get out of the car to grab Song Qiaoji, she quickly got out of the car. She quickly opened Song Qiaoji's car door and sat in. Another man wanted to grab Feng Shanshan, but he was stopped by Xiao Xing. Song Qiaoji made a prompt decision and got into the car. She said to Feng Shanshan, "Sit tight. Dr. Song, why are you here?" "This is the only way to work. I was doing something and happened to see it when I returned to the hospital," Song Qiaoji explained. "Who are those people? Why are they so bold? Is Jianchuan's public security so chaotic?" "I don't know either. They're probably my husband's enemies." Feng Shanshan only felt the lingering fear now. Then she said to Song Qiaoji, "Dr. Song, can I borrow your phone?" "It's in my bag." Her phone had been snatched, but Feng Shanshan remembered Tang Yan's phone number. However, Tang Yan could not be reached. Chapter 849. I'll send you to my house first. It's safe this way. When we arrive, I'll think of a way to help you inform them, Song Qiaoji said. "Thank you, Dr. Song." After putting down the phone, Feng Shanshan finally understood what it felt like to tremble. Song Qiaoji looked at Feng Shanshan from the rearview mirror and thought to herself, what an innocent woman. What a pity. After all, Professor Tang was old and could not withstand such a big torment. When the police arrived, he was already so tired that he sat on the side and panted. Mrs. Tang hurriedly went up to take care of him. As for the men behind them, when they saw the police arrive, they scattered in all directions. In order to catch one of them, Xiao Xing had disappeared. "I wonder how Shanshan is doing. Her phone is broken." Mrs. Tang picked it up from the ground and held it in her hand. "Who are these people?" Professor Tang wiped his sweat and said slowly, "It might be someone trying to take revenge on Tang Yan. Fortunately, the doctor came in time. Then let's hurry to the hospital and contact someone to bring Shanshan back." Mrs. Tang helped the professor up. The two of them showed their identities and got into the police car. "Give Tang Yan a call too. I can't get through," Mrs. Tang said bitterly. "Really, how did we offend so many people? Isn't this what being a police officer is like? When revenge comes, it's impossible to guard against it." Professor Tang said helplessly, "Tang Yan will investigate this matter himself when he comes back. I'm just worried about what will happen to Shanshan in the future. She will suffer with him." Mrs. Tang wanted to defend her nephew, but she didn't know where to start. Who wouldn't be afraid when a pregnant girl encountered such a dangerous situation? "Don't talk so much. Let's go." The two of them wanted to go to the hospital and quickly contacted Song Qiaoji. On the other side, Song Qiaoji had already brought Feng Shanshan into the house. "Sit anywhere. Don't be nervous. It's safe here." After Song Qiaoji entered the door, she handed Feng Shanshan a pair of slippers. "You stay here for now. I think it's chaotic outside. It's enough for your family to handle." "Dr. Song, can I use your phone again?" Now, she was worried about the safety of Professor Tang and his wife. Also, she wanted to contact Mu Qiqi. At least, the only person she could think of now was Mu Qiqi. "Take it." Song Qiaoji took out her phone and handed it to Feng Shanshan. Feng Shanshan immediately dialed, but found that the number could not be dialed at all. There was no signal. "Dr. Song, can I go to the balcony? There's no signal here." "Okay, I poured you a glass of water. Take your time." Song Qiaoji's smile was warm and not aggressive at all. After getting permission, Feng Shanshan immediately walked to the balcony. Other than Tang Yan's number, she could not remember Mu Qiqi's number completely. She could only try to call it. But at this moment she felt dizzy. By the time she reacted, it was already too late and she fainted on the ground. Song Qiaoji could not bear to see her fall to the ground. Was a pregnant woman of 4 to 5 months going to die in her hands just like that? Then Qingbin called. "Miss Song, can you hand him over to me now?" "I never intended to hand her over to you. I have other uses for Feng Shanshan, so I'll take her with me. I'll send you photos regularly. When the time comes, you can still lure Tang Yan into the trap." Song Qiaoji refused decisively. "No, Mr. Jin sent you to assist me. What are you doing now?" Qingbin said angrily on the other side of the phone. "Don't play tricks on me. I'll do anything for revenge. You already have something on me. I won't give her to you. Besides, I'm only helping my father get rid of Tang Yan. I didn't say that I was going to hand over the pregnant woman." After saying that, Song Qiaoji hung up the phone. Everything was under control. She secretly sent her away. Then she drugged herself and fainted. Everything was flawless. Immediately after, the neighbors found that Song Qiaoji's door was wide open and immediately called the police. When Professor Tang and the other two arrived, Song Qiaoji was also sent to the hospital. The doctor said that she had inhaled a small amount of drugs, and Feng Shanshan had already disappeared. Professor Tang immediately panicked. Song Qiaoji also weakly apologized to the two elders. I'm sorry. I thought that we would be safe if I brought Miss Feng back to my house. I didn't expect someone to follow us. What could Professor Tang say? She had been dragged into this for no reason and was now lying in the hospital injured. Could they blame her? Old Tang Shanshan is missing. The child is missing. Think of a way. Think of a way to contact Tang Yen. Mrs. Tang was anxious. She was perfectly fine. She was handed over to us and now she's gone. If Tang Yen comes back and asks how can we face him? Song Qiaoji closed her eyes as if she was thinking carefully. After a moment she said, before she fainted, Shanshan lent me her phone. I don't know who she called, but it might be someone she trusts. Think about it, other than her husband, who else does she trust? Professor Tang suddenly seemed to have woken up from a dream. Chichi, but Chichi is also sick at home now. How can I disturb her? I'll go back to the station first and tell the chief about this. I can only try to contact Tang Yen. Since the other party is here for Tang Yen, it means that they won't do anything to Shanshan for the time being. You make it sound so easy. Shanshan is pregnant now. She can't withstand any torture. Mrs. Tang was not so optimistic. So, it's all my fault. Professor Tang was so anxious that he stomped his feet. The matter was neither big nor small, and it was even on the news. Then Su Che received the news and immediately went into the office to tell Xing Xiao, Feng Shanshan is missing. Xing Xiao suddenly raised his head and looked at Su Che. When did this happen? I went home from the prenatal checkup in the morning. I was intercepted on the way. Now her whereabouts are unknown. President, should we tell Madam? Xing Xiao shook his head. I know what I'm doing. Go and understand the process carefully. Chir could not know about this. This was because he knew Mu Chichi's personality very well. She only cared about these few people. If she found out that Feng Shanshan was missing, she would not be able to quietly nurture the fetus at home. This was what Xing Kai had said before. Jin Bo had asked Qing Bin to make a move. Now he had captured Feng Shanshan to deal with Tang Yen. Since it was to wait for Tang Yen, Feng Shanshan's life would not be in danger now, but he did not dare to think about whether the child could still be saved. At the Jianchuan branch office, the professor returned to the station and went straight to the chief's office. Chief, let Tang Yen come back. Something happened? He's on a mission now. He won't be back until the afternoon. Shanshan is missing. She's been kidnapped. Professor Tang said helplessly. Back then I shouldn't have allowed him to go undercover. Otherwise his family wouldn't have been ruined. If anything happens to Shanshan, will Tang Yen still be able to live? Perhaps it was because he heard the professor's last sentence that the chief suddenly came to a realization. He made a phone call. Bring Tang Yen back immediately. Chapter 850. Now that the matter had blown up, everyone knew that Feng Shanshan had been kidnapped, but she was not in Qing Bin's hands. Qing Bin thought about it and felt that it was ironic. He had underestimated Song Qiaoji. However, as Song Qiaoji had said, she had sent Qing Bin photos of Feng Shanshan being tied up. These were enough to lure Tang Yen into the trap. What AB** TC? What if she told him to play the empty city ruse? However, he had no other choice now. He could only follow his original plan and find a pregnant woman to pretend to be her to lure Tang Yen out, even if it meant perishing together. However, Tang Yen was so cunning and had a close relationship with Xing Xiao. If the two of them worked together, he might not have a chance of winning. Therefore, he called Jin Bo. Mr. Jin, Miss Song has taken her away. How am I supposed to deal with Tang Yen? Qiaoji has already reported this to me. Tang Yen is worried and confused. As long as you lure him, he will definitely take the bait. At this juncture, don't cause too many murders. Jin Bo was unmoved. After all, between Qing Bin and Song Qiaoji, he naturally trusted his daughter more. But you also know that Tang Yen is very cunning. He's been a criminal police officer for so many years. It's very likely that he'll see through it. That's why we have to continue holding him in our hands. Only then will he be obedient. With that, Jin Bo hung up. Qing Bin felt his mind explode. He was purely being used by Jin Bo. He had taken such a big risk to capture her, but in the end, Jin Bo had reaped the benefits while he had to perish together with Tang Yen. If he failed, then Feng Shanshan would still be in Jin Bo's hands. Tang Yen would still not dare to act rashly. What a good plan. However, now that things had come to this, there was no turning back for him. In any case, if he killed Tang Yen, he had no intention of leaving alive. In the afternoon, Tang Yen finally rushed back from another city. However, when he returned to the police station, the news he received almost made him break down. Tang Yin, you have to calm down, the chief said to him with some heartache. Tang Yin did not say anything. He took off his police uniform and walked out of the police station. The chief was afraid that something would happen to Tang Yin, so he immediately got someone to stop him. Tang Yin, don't do anything rash. Don't forget your identity. Tang Yin didn't care about anything else. He just pushed away the people who came to stop him. I'll kill whoever stops me today. Xiaolong had never seen Tang Yin like this before. His eyes were red and the veins on his neck were bulging. He was so scared that he took 2 steps back. Professor Tang felt extremely uncomfortable when he saw Tang Yin like that. He walked up and said, I know that if I don't let you go, you'll definitely go crazy. But Tang Yin, I want you to remember that if there's a glimmer of hope for survival, don't choose to die. If Shanshan and the child lose even a strand of hair, I'll make Qingbin die a horrible death. You're a cop. But who will pity my lover, my child? Tang Yin said sternly, then opened the door of the off-road vehicle. The chief wanted to get someone to tie him up, but Tang Yin took out a gun and pointed it at his head. Chief, don't make me crazy. Don't act rashly. All of you step back, the chief quickly shouted. Seeing this, Tang Yin put away his gun and drove away. He didn't want to be a police officer anymore, and he didn't want to be a captain anymore. Protecting the country and putting the people first were all thrown to the back of his mind. If he couldn't even protect the most important person, then what was the point of living in this world? Chase after him immediately and bring him back. The chief was heartbroken. Then the police team also set off. However, 5 minutes after Tang Yin left, the police station received an anonymous express delivery. When Xiaolong saw that it was Tang Yan's express delivery, he secretly hid in the bathroom and opened it. Then he sent the photo of Feng Shanshan being tied up to Tang Yin and the letter Qingbin left him. Captain Tang, you don't need to guess to know who I am. It's time for us to settle the score from back then. If you want to save your woman, tonight at 12 o'clock, in the abandoned glass factory on the outskirts of the city. As long as you bring the police here, I guarantee that you'll be able to see your woman's steaming corpse. When Xiaolong sent these over, his hands were actually trembling, because he felt that he was sending Tang Yin to his death. However, that was Captain Tang's lover. That was Captain Tang's life. If he didn't do this, he felt that it would be no different from killing Captain Tang. Tang Yin raced on the road. He really wanted to grab Qingbin's neck and break it. But he couldn't. After that, Tang Yin returned home because he had to prepare for his appointment that night. At that moment there was a knock on the door. Tang Yin immediately stood up vigilantly. Who is it? It's me, Su Che. Tang Yin got up and opened the door. When he saw that it was Su Che, he knew that he was Xing Zhao's lobbyist. I'm going to Qingbin's appointment tonight. President Xing doesn't want to stop you, but he won't let you die for no reason. President Xing has found something. If you're still willing to listen to it, come with me to Zhongting. Tang Yin did not say anything. President, I know you're anxious, but there's one thing you need to know. Jin Bo sent a helper to Qingbin, and in the message that Shen Kai sent to the president, he mentioned such a person. She's a woman. At this moment, Tang Yan's expression finally showed a subtle change. Don't blame the president for not telling you because he's not sure either. Now that it's happened, he'll set up a trap according to your previous agreement. The other party knows that you're worried and confused, so you can do whatever you want. However, if you want to save someone, you can't rely on your fists. You have to rely on this. Su Che pointed at his head. How about it? Are you willing to come with me to see the president now? Wait for me to pack up, Tang Yin said in a deep voice. I'll give you 3 minutes. The people at the police station probably won't be at ease with you wandering around alone. Tang Yin could not deny it, especially since he still had a gun in his hand. However, he did not bring a gun because this was the soul of a police officer. He would not abandon it. He did not need such a thing to deal with Qingbin, so he only put a dagger on his leg. When we reach Zhongting, Su Che, do me a favor and help me send this back to the police station. When Su Che saw this, he shook his head. Outsiders shouldn't touch this thing and you shouldn't give it to them either. Tang Yin did not force him. He hid it at home. You know quite a lot. Then the two of them got into Su Che's car and left. Tang Yin did not drive his off-road vehicle out because it would be too eye-catching. Soon the two of them arrived at Zhongting. Su Che knew that in a situation where he did not know whether Feng Shanshan was safe or not, every minute and second was torture for him. However, the more it was like this, the more it tested a man's endurance. He had once been a spy, so he must have experienced this before. A moment later, the two of them entered Xing Zhao's office. When Xing Zhao saw him, he heaved a sigh of relief. At least, this person had not lost his mind to the point of being hopeless. Since you're here, let's cut the crap and sort out the key information. Chapter 851. Xing Xiao glanced at him and moved his lips. Who was the one who coincidentally appeared beside you during this period of time? Tang Yin thought about it for a few seconds and closed his eyes. It seemed that he already had an idea. That's why I sent Su Che to your house. Su Che went to find out what happened today. Qing Bin got someone to damage Professor Tang's car. The car broke down halfway and Qing Bin's people took the opportunity to kidnap someone. At this time the police were alerted. In addition, the little criminal police officer you sent is quite skilled. So, if this woman doesn't appear, Qing Bin's plan will fail. She used such a long time to gain Feng Shanshan's trust, saved Feng Shanshan on such an occasion and brought her home. It's too easy. When he recalled that he and Feng Shanshan had gone to listen to this doctor's lecture not long ago, he felt that he might have been blind. Qing Bin asked to meet me tonight. Having said that, Tang Yin took out his phone and placed it in front of Xing Xiao. But I don't believe that Feng Shanshan is in Qing Bin's hands. Xing Xiao glanced at the photo on his phone and answered Tang Yin. Previously, Jin Bo sent Xin Yu over for Xing Bowen's case. He said it was a gift for Sheng Kai. He's just finding an excuse to attack the Sheng family, and his real goal is to test my ability. Now Jin Bo has sent another person to assist Qing Bin. His purpose is to get rid of you. I believe that. After all, in Bai Sini's case, we found a lot of suspicious points related to Jin Bo. He has this reason to get rid of you, but it turns out that Jin Bo must have a backup plan. Why would he hand Feng Shanshan over to Qing Bin just to help him take revenge? What if Qing Bin fails to take revenge and you don't get rid of him? Wouldn't his plan be in vain? So, Feng Shanshan should be in this woman's hands. Do you remember that Cheer gave Feng Shanshan a headset with a GPS? At the mention of the GPS, Tang Yan's eyes lit up because the jewelry was still on Feng Shanshan's body. He had never asked her to take it off. Thinking of this, he immediately took out his phone, but the signal was not connected to Feng Shanshan's locator. His heart sank into the abyss once more. Tang Yin put down his phone and closed his eyes again to sort out his thoughts. I have to go because I can't afford to gamble. Xing Xiao, you know that. If there was anyone in this world who could understand the torment in his heart, it was Xing Xiao. Without Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi in this world, these two men were just shells without hearts and walking corpses. Of course you have to go but not to die. Xing Xiao looked at him firmly. Do you remember what we said? Set a trap. Tang Yin had nothing now and he didn't care about anything. Every second that Feng Shanshan was outside was like pouring oil on his heart. What do you think? President, the police are here. Before the two of them could say a few words, Su Che entered the door and interrupted them. Take the elevator and leave. I'll call you on the way. Tang Yin nodded and immediately got up. He followed Su Che and bypassed the police. Then old Xing came to the door. When he saw Xing Xiao he was very respectful. Co Xing, I'm really sorry to disturb you. Has Captain Tang been here before? I'm leaving, Xing Xiao replied as he leaned against the sofa. Then did he say where he's going? To save someone. Xing Xiao's answer was equivalent to not answering. Co Xing, we're just afraid that something will happen to Captain Tang. Sister-in-law has been taken away. We're also very worried, but impulsiveness won't solve the problem. Don't worry. He's not as weak as you think. With that, Xing Xiao got up and returned to his desk. Actually, if he wanted to know whether Feng Shanshan was in Qing Bin's hands or not, he only needed to trick her. Then Xing Xiao asked the technical department to quickly strengthen the search for the locator on Feng Shanshan's body. Today was the day of the prenatal checkup. Logically speaking, Feng Shanshan should have called Mu Qiqi after she was done. However, it was already evening, and she still hadn't received any news from Feng Shanshan. Xing Xiao had already called Mama Xing in the morning. He couldn't let Mu Qiqi see the news on TV or on her phone. But this was the information age. Mama Xing tried her best to distract Mu Qiqi, but after dinner she still said to Mama Xing, Mommy, I want to go down and see Feng Shanshan. Didn't eighth brother say it? It's better if you don't go out. But I can't get through to Feng Shanshan's phone. Mu Qiqi was a little worried. She rarely does this. She also has a husband and a family. If something really happens she'll definitely tell you. Don't worry. You're pregnant now, so don't let your imagination run wild. Go to sleep. Mama Xing looked at the time. Mommy, I'll wait a little longer. Mama Xing was helpless, so she looked at Papa Xing. Papa Xing had an idea and immediately took out the design drawings. Since you can't sleep now, come and take a look at the baby's toys. I plan to build a playground for my little grandson in the garden. These are my design drawings. Chi-Chi, take a look. When Mu Chi-Chi saw the drawings, her gaze was indeed attracted. Seeing this, Mama Sheng finally heaved a sigh of relief. After nightfall, Jianchuan was extremely hot. Tang Yin sneaked into the abandoned site in advance. Then he lay on the ceiling and installed a pinhole camera. In such an empty hall there was nothing. Other than an abandoned table, there was nowhere to hide. After observing the surroundings, Tang Yin left the abandoned site and lay beside a garbage station not far away. Tonight was the final battle between him and Qing Bin. It should have been settled a long time ago. He only regretted not killing this group of people when he was a spy. That was why there was such a situation now. The person he loved the most was being held hostage by this group of people. Then Xing Xiao called. I found an address near Qing Bin's house. Give me the signal source and the address, Tang Yin said in a low voice over the phone. I can't wait any longer. If you rashly go to Qing Bin's house, there will definitely be a trap. Do you think he doesn't know what you're thinking? Moreover, Su Che just came back from that area and heard about something. A family lost a pregnant woman and has already reported it. What did this mean? Feng Shanshan was indeed not in Qing Bin's hands. In order to pass off the fake as the real one, Qing Bin had caught someone else to replace her. If this is true, what do you plan to do with that innocent pregnant woman? Tang Yan's hands could not help but tremble. This was because he could not let innocent people sacrifice themselves because of him. Feng Shanshan was his wife and lover. If he could not escape in the end, at most he would die for Feng Shanshan. But how could he repay the innocent people? Chapter 852. Don't say such discouraging words. Dr. Song has already been controlled for you. We'll wait for you to come back. It all depended on whether Jin Bo wanted Song Qiaoji or Feng Shanshan. Thank you. There were thousands of words, but there was nothing else. There was not much hesitation between men. They were straightforward with each other. During this time, Xing Xiao asked Su Che to secretly check the surveillance cameras around Song Qiaoji. How did she get out, where she was hiding now, and if it was really that difficult to find out? Moreover, the jewelry that should have appeared on Feng Shanshan's body had appeared near Qing Bin's house. However, the person in Qing Bin's hands was not Feng Shanshan. What did this mean? The things on Feng Shanshan might have been sent to Qing Bin in order to pass off the fake as the real one. Half an hour after you go in, I'll call the police. Whatever you want to do, settle it within that half an hour. Why didn't he call the police from the beginning? What if their judgment was wrong? Whether it was Feng Shanshan or another pregnant woman, their lives were equally important. Therefore, Xing Xiao gave him half an hour to settle his personal grudges. Tang Yin put down his phone and sat next to the trash heap because he could observe the situation of the abandoned glass factory nearby. He could also immediately know that Qing Bin had brought someone over. He only hoped that the heavens would bless him and not let him be alone again. Or let him die alone and not hurt his wife and children. At 8:30 p.m. Xing Xiao was still not home. Mu Chi-Chi woke up from her nap and found it strange that she did not see him. She called Xing Xiao. Why aren't you home tonight? Xing Xiao was in the car. When he heard the little one's voice, he immediately let go of his fierceness and said to her, Secretary, he asked me to go over. Mom said you were still sleeping, so I didn't call you. Is there something urgent? Probably, Xing Xiao said lightly, trying his best to make his tone sound calm. All right then. Come back early. When you're back, bring me to see Feng Shanshan. I haven't been able to contact her all day. I don't know what's wrong. Okay. Xing Xiao only said one word. Then you go ahead. With that, Mu Chi-Chi hung up. She did not know why, but everyone was acting strangely tonight. However, no matter how strange it was, she was still pregnant and could not act rashly. Even if it was only a 10-minute distance, she promised that she would not go out. It was 10 o'clock at night. The Jianchuan branch office was still in an emergency meeting because Xing Xiao brought news about Tang Yin. He also said that the two of them had agreed to meet at midnight. He was worried that Tang Yin would use too much force and cause both sides to suffer a loss in the end. Xing Xiao was calmer than the director. If Tang Yin is really a reckless person, he wouldn't have endured it until now. He doesn't want others to be implicated because of him. So, director, you shouldn't worry about whether he will get into trouble or not. Instead, you should think about how to help him save people. Co Xing, are you so sure that Tang Yin won't kill Qing Bin? He wants to, but he won't because he knows that if he kills someone, then he and Feng Shanshan will have no future. Not only that, but he also has the self-awareness as a police officer. His soul won't allow him to do it. The director looked at Xing Xiao in surprise. Why did he feel that after working with Tang Yin for so long, He did not know him as well as Xing Xiao did. Then you should have told us this afternoon. If I had told you and pursued him relentlessly, do you think he would still be able to wait so calmly at the agreed place with Cheng Bin? The director looked at Xing Xiao thoughtfully, especially when he looked at Xing Xiao's calm eyes. This man had always maintained his unchanging emotions, as if he did not know what panic was. Okay, I'll go and deploy the rescue plan now. I hope I can make it in time. Wait. Xing Xiao took out his phone and sent the photo to the director. This is the terrain survey that Tang Yen did in advance. It's convenient for you to deploy. Co Xing, it's a pity that you're not a police officer. Hurry up. You still have 3 hours. Xing Xiao looked at his watch and reported the time to the director. Once tonight's matter was resolved, it would be time for him and Tang Yen to counterattack. Can I ask why you're helping Tang Yen so much? The director did not understand. As the CEO of a well-known company, Xing Xiao was running around for a criminal police officer. It was unbelievable. For my Chier. Because he did not want Chier to worry and be sad because of Feng Shanshan. Okay, then let's stop here for today. I'll go and deploy the plan first. With that, the director quickly left the office. It was already 10 o'clock at night. Feng Shanshan had been unconscious for an entire day and finally woke up in a small bathroom. When she woke up, she found that her original clothes and jewelry were gone. The GPS that Chier had given her was hidden inside, but now she did not know where it was. She was very hungry and very tired. However, she did not dare to make a sound because she did not want to be sure that she had fallen into Cheng Bin's hands. If that was the case, that man must be in great danger. However, before she could think too much, the bathroom door was suddenly pushed open. A middle-aged woman squatted in front of Feng Shanshan with hot milk in her hand. Drink it. You must be hungry too. Who are you? Where is this? And eat, can you? Miss, since you're pregnant here, don't resist. This is good for you and the child. What do you think? The middle-aged woman's words were cold and ruthless. She brought the milk to Feng Shanshan's mouth and poured it down her throat. Can I drink it myself? No, I'm afraid you'll hurt yourself. With that, the middle-aged woman continued to pour it down her throat until the cup was empty. Have a good rest tonight. With that, the woman got up and closed the bathroom door, not giving Feng Shanshan any time to ask any more questions. Feng Shanshan observed the bathroom carefully. She smelled something. She had smelled it at Song Qiaoji's house in the morning. It seemed to be the fragrance of gardenias. Did this mean that she was still in that apartment? Thinking of this, Feng Shanshan was a little excited, but soon she was discouraged. In this season there were gardenias everywhere, and they might not be in the original area. What would happen outside tonight? That man, was he crazy with anxiety? If it was Cheng Bin, Feng Shanshan did not dare to think too much about it because he was here for revenge. Tang Yen would definitely be tortured by him. However, she was locked up here. What could Cheng Bin use to threaten Tang Yen? Thinking of this, she had more questions in her heart, but there were no answers. She had never thought that she would experience a real kidnapping. Feng Shanshan thought to herself, when danger really comes, who would she rather be alive? Chapter 853. At 11:30 p.m., a silver pickup truck drove in from the night and stopped outside the glass factory. Tang Yen lay on the ground and watched as Cheng Bin dragged a big box and unloaded it from the car. With the help of 2 people, he entered the glass factory. If he guessed correctly, the box contained the innocent pregnant woman. Cheng Bin had chosen such a place to prevent Tang Yen from playing tricks in such a complicated environment. The surroundings were empty and there was nothing. He did not believe that Tang Yen could still play any tricks like this. Tie her to the chair, Cheng Bin instructed his 2 subordinates. The pregnant woman was wearing Feng Shanshan's clothes and jewelry. Her figure was similar to Feng Shanshan's, and she was covered with a black cloth. He did not believe that Tang Yen would still be able to recognize her. The pregnant woman was unconscious and had inhaled a small amount of drugs. When Tang Yen arrives, stand at the door and keep watch. If there's any movement, give me the signal immediately. Got it, Brother Cheng. Cheng Bin tied bombs to himself and the pregnant woman. Whoever dared to approach would turn everyone into meat paste. Time was ticking away. The people from the branch office had also appeared in the wasteland a few kilometers away from the abandoned factory with the police force. The police in charge of investigation had already quietly gone over. The main force would move according to the tip-off from their colleagues in front and narrow the range. The chief was personally in charge, afraid that Tang Yen would do something stupid. In contrast, Xing Xiao was much calmer. There was no trace of panic on his sharp face. It was as if he could stabilize the situation better than the chief. Time slowly passed until 12 o'clock. Tang Yen got up from the side of the garbage and approached the glass factory without saying a word. Brother Ching, he's here. Ching Bin's subordinate reminded him. He came alone. There's no trace of the police? Indeed not. He didn't even drive a car, the subordinate replied. Let him in. Ching Bin could not wait any longer. He stood behind the pregnant woman with a homemade weapon in his hand. When he saw Tang Yen enter, he was extremely excited. Tang Yen was alone and did not bring anything with him. His body had also been searched by the two subordinates. Other than a dagger, he did not even bring a gun. A criminal police officer did not bring a gun. I'm here. Tang Yen walked to a place 4 meters away from Ching Bin and stopped. What do you want for you to let her go? Release him? Ching Bin laughed. Tang Yen, as a police officer, you shouldn't be so whimsical. Wouldn't it be nice for you and your beloved woman to die together as a family of 3? Let her go and I can let you do whatever you want. Do you think you still have the right to negotiate with me? Ching Bin shouted. Tie him up. Tang Yen had been observing the pregnant woman. From this, he could conclude that it was indeed not his Shanshan. It was just an innocent and pitiful victim. The two men moved quickly. They quickly took out the rope they carried and tied Tang Yen up. Tang Yen was pushed to the ground. He lay on the ground without any signs of resistance. You've gotten what you wanted. Can you let this innocent pregnant woman go now? Ching Bin was stunned for a moment, and his expression changed slightly. Tang Yen, this is your woman. Don't try to play tricks with me. If she wasn't your woman, would you be willing to be helped here by me? Beat him up. The two subordinates pounced on him almost at the same time and kicked Tang Yan's back and lower abdomen. After about 3 minutes, Ching Bin let go when he saw Tang Yen vomiting blood. Don't beat him to death. I haven't let him feel the torture I've suffered over the past few years. Tang Yen curled up on the ground in a sorry state. His mouth and eyes were full of blood. Now, can you let that innocent pregnant woman go? Ching Bin was surprised. Seeing that Tang Yen was willing to be beaten, he almost laughed out of anger. How do you know that she's not your woman? Shanshan doesn't have such a big shoe size. Ching Bin looked at the woman's feet and immediately deflated. He nodded. It seems that our Captain Tang is really in love. He knows his woman very well. Since you've already recognized her, I'm not afraid to tell you that she's indeed not your woman. With that, Ching Bin removed the woman's hood. She's an innocent woman. I captured her because of you. Do you want to know where your woman is? Ching Bin squatted on the ground and looked at Tang Yen. She's in a dark place covered in blood. Alright, she even had a miscarriage. Did you know that? Blood flowed all over the ground. I've never seen such a tragic scene. Shut up. Tang Yen shouted sternly. Up. Ching Bin took the opportunity to grab Tang Yan's collar and fiercely pull him in front of him. So many brothers have gone to prison because of you. Their families have all been ruined. Their wives are sick and dead. Your woman's current state is considered light. After hearing Ching Bin's words, Tang Yen suddenly laughed. A criminal is a criminal and trash is trash. Even sophistry can be so shameless. Because of your so-called brothers who sell drugs and commit all kinds of crimes, how many families in this world have been broken up and their families separated? You're talking to me about justice. Ching Bin was suddenly enraged. He punched Tang Yan's face again and again to vent the hatred in his heart. They're all our brothers. They're brothers with you but they're enemies with me. A police officer is a police officer and a bandit is a bandit. Tang Yen answered firmly. Ching Bin could not tame Tang Yen, so he stood up in exasperation. Then he slowly revealed a meaningful smile. Didn't you say that a police officer is a police officer and a bandit is a bandit? Alright, then I'll let you, a police officer, kill the pregnant woman in front of you with your own hands. Let's see how many tough bones you still have. After hearing Ching Bin's words, Tang Yen suddenly laughed, even though he was covered in injuries. Looking at you like this, I'm even more certain that my woman is intact because you're just a pawn of Jin Bo. You don't have the right to control my woman. As long as she's not in your hands, what do I have to fear? I killed a pregnant woman because you threatened me. The law will give me a lighter punishment, but you will die a graveless death. Who do you think will be able to leave alive today? Ching Bin suddenly sneered. You and I should all be buried with our dead brothers. On the other side, the chief was very anxious. How's the situation inside? Ching Bin is very agitated. Captain Tang's situation isn't good. If he gets beaten again, I'm afraid he won't be able to take it. He can take it, Xing Xiao told the chief with certainty. He told me that he'll wait for me for half an hour. Chapter 854. Director, when can we break through? Sniper, is the sniper in position? The director was very anxious, but no matter how anxious he was, he had to wait for the right time. Now was not the best time to save people. The sniper is looking for the best sniping position. This Tang Yin, you must hold on. The director was so excited that he almost jumped up. This was his beloved general. It was now 12:20 p.m. Mu Qiqi waited for him for most of the night, but he did not come home. Downstairs, Mama Sheng was still watching TV. She was usually asleep, but today she was still eating melon seeds downstairs. This made Mu Qiqi even more certain that something must have happened. Qiqi, why are you up? Mama Sheng turned around and looked at her. She immediately gave her a blanket. Mommy, just tell me what happened, okay? Mu Qiqi asked Mama Sheng directly. Master Xiao never came home so late. Even if secretary he was looking for him, he would not let him go so late. Moreover, she couldn't get through to Feng Shanshan, which made her even more confused. Mama Sheng knew that she was smart and could not hide it anymore. So, she helped her sit on the sofa and said, I can tell you, but you must promise me that you must face it rationally. Mommy, don't think of me as so weak. Mama Sheng deliberated for a moment and said slowly, I'm not afraid that you're weak. I'm just afraid that you'll be worried that Feng Shanshan is missing. After hearing the last 6 words, Mu Qiqi felt a chill spread from her heart to her limbs. 8th brother and the police are still rescuing people. Stay at home and don't distract him. You know 8th brother doesn't like to meddle in other people's business. I know, he did it for me. Mu Qiqi nodded. To prevent her from worrying, to prevent her imagination from running wild, and to prevent her from losing her friends, Xing Xiao had to get involved in these cases. Don't worry, I won't run out without permission, but I definitely can't fall asleep. Mommy, don't worry about me, I'll wait for him in the living room. I'll stay with you. Mama Sheng smiled at her. At this time she needed her family to care for her. Thinking of the missing Feng Shanshan, Mu Qiqi felt sad. Mommy, it's so good to have you. The time was 12:29 p.m. Cheng Bin asked 2 subordinates to help Tang Yen up and return the dagger to him. Of course, Tang Yen was unwilling to do it, but Cheng Bin pointed the gun at the pregnant woman's head. If you don't do it, I'll do it. You make your choice. I'll give you 10 seconds. Tang Yen, you have to be clear. If I make a move, there will be a few holes in the pregnant woman's head. I can't guarantee that. I might also shoot through her stomach. Tang Yen stood shakily in front of the pregnant woman. His hands were untied and the blood on his body was dripping down along the dagger. The ground gradually turned red. 10, 9, 8. As time passed, Cheng Bin loaded the gun in his hand. Tang Yen tried his best to open his swollen eyes. Then he said hoarsely, let me. If you admitted defeat earlier, you wouldn't have wasted so much time. Cheng Bin put down his gun and gestured with his chin. Tang Yan's feet were tied and he could not move at all. Cheng Bin wanted to see Tang Yen kill someone with his own hands. He wanted to see the police kill someone. However, there were only a few seconds left before the half an hour that Tang Yen had mentioned. Tang Yen closed his eyes and finally raised the dagger at the pregnant woman. However, just as the tip of the dagger was about to fall, he lost his balance and fell to the ground. Don't play tricks on me. Cheng Bin kicked Tang Yen again. Tang Yen took the opportunity to pick up the dagger. He raised his hand and cut Cheng Bin's right Achilles tendon. Cheng Bin screamed and covered his foot as he howled loudly. Perhaps he had received a signal, but the sniper immediately saw the opportunity. Through the broken glass window, he aimed at Cheng Bin's head and blew it up. When Cheng Bin's 2 subordinates saw this, their legs immediately turned to jelly. They panicked and ran away. However, the police had already taken control of the surroundings. When Cheng Bin was torturing Tang Yen, he was not vigilant of his surroundings. Neither of his 2 subordinates ran away. Tang Yen was lying on the ground, covered in blood. However, he still used a black hood to cover Cheng Bin's appearance after he died. He did not want this innocent pregnant woman to be traumatized. Then the people from the police station rushed in. After confirming that Cheng Bin was dead, they carefully removed the bomb and destroyed it. Old Cheng and Officer Long immediately went forward to save him. Captain Tang, are you all right? He was covered in blood. How could he be fine? Tang Yen? The chief's expression was also full of concern. I can still hold on. After Tang Yen said this, he fainted. However, he said it while looking at the chief and Xing Xiao. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and send him to the hospital. The chief immediately ordered old Cheng when he saw that he had fainted. Seeing this, the chief sighed. At least there's no big trouble. Xiao Xing, you know Tang Yin. It's too late today. Xiao Xing, go home and rest. Tang Yin, don't worry, I'll make the arrangements. This is my left arm. Can I break it myself? Seeing the blood on the ground, Xing Xiao returned to the car. He rubbed the space between his eyebrows and instructed Su Che, drive. Let's go home. Young madam already knows. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He just took a deep breath. Even if he went home now, he would have an explanation. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Xing Xiao finally returned home. When he saw Mu Qiqi lying on the sofa, he quietly took off his coat and hung it on the hanger. When Mu Qiqi woke up and saw Xing Xiao, she immediately propped herself up. How is it? Xing Xiao did not answer. He unbuttoned his shirt, sat on the sofa and pulled Mu Qiqi into his arms. Qing Bin is dead. Then Captain Tang, in the hospital, Xing Xiao answered. Everything is under control. Don't worry. Then Feng Shanshan. Is there still no news? We also have something on her, so you just need to stay at home and wait for the news. Xing Xiao held her shoulder and comforted her. It's 1 o'clock. If you don't sleep, the baby needs to sleep too. You've been tired all day. I'll go get you a bath. No need. I'll take a shower. You go back to your room first. Mu Qiqi knew that even if she had big questions, she could not ask too much, so she obediently returned to her room. Xing Xiao followed her back to her room and saw her lying on the bed with her eyes closed. After washing up, he lay beside her. Mu Qiqi did not sleep well, so Xing Xiao hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, "It's okay. Don't be afraid." Qing Bin was dead. This meant that Tang Yan's predicament had been resolved. Next. Chapter 855. After Tang Yan was sent to the hospital, the doctor immediately examined him. 2 of his ribs were broken, and his spleen was ruptured and bleeding. There were also countless injuries on his body. The doctor immediately performed the surgery. Outside the operating theater, old Cheng was guarding the door. It was not convenient for him to inform Professor Tang and his wife now. Most importantly, Feng Shanshan's whereabouts were still unknown. Old Cheng sat on the bench inside. They did not know that Tang Yan had been a spy. Just now, when she heard the chief mention it, she knew that Tang Yan had such an experience and made such a contribution. This Cheng Bin was here for revenge. Boss, please don't let anything happen to you. I was angry at you for being a coward. I really didn't know that you actually worked so hard as a spy. Captain Tang keeps things to himself and never says anything. He looks cold on the surface, but he's actually more loyal than anyone else. He must have sensed the danger in by Cindy's case, so he didn't let us investigate further. You have to trust his judgment. Xiaolong patted old Cheng's shoulder to comfort him. Yes, now I just want to save sister-in-law. Don't worry, sister-in-law will be fine. Xiaolong patted old Cheng on the shoulder. 2 hours later, Tang Yan's surgery was over and he was sent back to the general ward. However, half an hour after the anesthesia wore off, Tang Yan woke up and wanted to get out of bed. Boss, do you want to die? Old Cheng had only gone to fetch water. When he came back, he saw Tang Yan getting up, so he quickly went forward to help him. I still have to save Shanshan, Tang Yan said with a pale face. Sister-in-law is fine. You're the one who's in trouble now. Old Cheng held him down. If anything happens to you, what will happen to sister-in-law? I know you're worried, but at least you can rest for the night. Even Iron Man would not be able to get out of bed immediately after the surgery, right? Tang Yan did not say anything. He just covered his wound. Although Qing Bin was dead, Shanshan was still in Jinbo's hands. When President Sheng left, he asked me to tell you not to act rashly tonight. Tomorrow he will give you an explanation. Perhaps he was afraid that Tang Yan would do that. Tang Yan did not move, nor did he say a word. Aren't you going to listen to Chief Sheng? Don't you believe him? Of course he believed it, but his heart was similarly tormented. Boss, be obedient. The director has aged 10 years because of you. Tang Yan clutched his chest. Finally he sighed and admitted defeat. Cheng Bin was executed on the spot. Jinbo only received the news before dawn. He knew that if Feng Shanshan was handed over to Cheng Bin, she might have already been rescued. Fortunately, his daughter was reliable. So Jinbo immediately called Song Qiaoji. Daughter, is Feng Shanshan okay? Don't worry, Dad. She's in my hands. Song Qiaoji replied. She was still in the hospital. Although she had drugged herself, it was a little heavy, so she decided to rest in the hospital. That's good. Qingbin is dead. He can't do anything right. Keep an eye on him. If Tang Yin dares to act recklessly, let his family be destroyed. I know. In 2 days your brother will be back. At that time the whole family will have a meal. All right. From the beginning to the end, Song Qiaoji appeared very calm because she and her so-called father were not as close as she had imagined. Then the two of them hung up the phone. At that moment, a figure flashed into the ward and quickly placed a dagger on Song Qiaoji's neck. I'm afraid you won't be able to have a meal. Miss Song, come with me. Song Qiaoji knew that she could not see the person's face clearly, so she was taken away from the hospital. She wanted to ask for help, but the hospital seemed to have been bribed by that person and did not give her a chance to see him. Then Song Qiaoji was brought back to her home and tied to a chair. Who are you? Song Qiaoji's head was covered as she asked the agile man. You don't have to be afraid. At most, you'll be treated the same as Feng Shanshan tonight. You'll be treated the same way she was treated. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't kidnap Feng Shanshan. Song Qiaoji immediately resisted. I'm also a victim. Besides, I saved her yesterday. You don't have to tell me this. Someone will come looking for trouble with you tomorrow morning. With that, the man lay down on the sofa and copied Song Qiaoji's phone number. What the hell are you doing? Don't touch my things. I'm just a weak woman. Don't go too far. The man was unmoved. After copying the number, he threw the phone in front of her. You're not a woman. You're a poisonous snake. Then Song Qiaoji fell into panic. The next morning, Song Qiaoji woke up and found herself on a reef in the sea. Beneath her feet was an abyss. She was still tied up, and if she moved slightly, she could fall to her death in the pile of rocks. Dr. Song, is there anything you want to tell me? Not far away, Tang Yin covered his wound and sat next to her. For example, tell me, where is my wife now? I don't know what you're talking about. Tang Yin, you're a police officer. How can you break the law? It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. There will always be someone willing to tell me. With that, Tang Yin dialed the number that Song Qiaoji had called last night. Hello. Jin Bo still did not know that Song Qiaoji had been arrested. Mr. Jin, right? Jin Bo's body trembled and he immediately sat down. Who are you? Song Qiaoji is in my hands. Do you want Song Qiaoji or Feng Shanshan? You can make a choice immediately. You also know that as police officers, we also have a set of methods to extort confessions. If she accidentally says more in front of me, I can't guarantee that I won't leak it out for you. If you want to destroy my family, I'll also make you unable to live in peace. Jin Bo reacted for a moment and knew the other party's identity. You're Tang Yin. I've already resigned from my position as a police officer. I just want to play a game with you. Do you want to continue holding Feng Shanshan hostage, or do you want your daughter? The corners of Jin Bo's mouth trembled a little, but he steeled his heart and said, if you have the ability, kill her. I have many daughters and she's not missing. Besides, you won't be able to get anything out of her. Tang Yin, you're just wasting your energy. Of course, I'm willing to keep Feng Shanshan. This way you won't dare to act rashly. Alright then. It looks like you've chosen not to have your daughter. With that, Tang Yin grabbed Song Qiaoji's hand and pushed her down the rock. Song Qiaoji screamed, no. Chapter 856. Therefore, Song Qiaoji's entire body was suspended in midair. Of course she was afraid. She was afraid of death. Tang Yin, pull me up. I'll tell you where Feng Shanshan is hidden. I hid her. No one knows, not even my father, Song Qiaoji shouted in the air. I don't believe you. Tell me the address of the hidden person first. Tang Yin lowered her a little more. Song Qiaoji couldn't take it anymore and was about to answer Tang Yin. Tang Yin took the opportunity to turn off his phone. He wanted to make Jin Bo, who was on the other end of the line, anxious. She's locked up upstairs. Really? After Tang Yin heard this, he immediately called Su Che. After Su Che heard this, he went out to save her. Pull me up first. Don't count on it until you find her. Tang Yin coldly rejected her request. A heartless, cold-blooded female killer shouldn't be afraid of this height because you know very well that she won't die, but it will definitely be very painful. Her bones will be fractured and she might even be disabled from now on. Tang Yin, you're not a man. If he couldn't even protect his wife and child, of course he wasn't a man. Tang Yin sneered. He had suffered such a serious injury yesterday. Didn't he have to run around to save his wife and child's life today? Half an hour later, Su Che arrived at Song Qiaoji's apartment and immediately went upstairs to search. However, there was no one in the room. However, Su Che found that Feng Shanshan had indeed been locked up here. Therefore he immediately called Tang Yen back. She's been moved. Hearing these words, Tang Yen put down another piece of rope. She's been moved. That's impossible. I hit her. No one knows, Song Qiaoji shouted. Tang Yen didn't want to waste his breath with her, so he pressed the remaining rope under the rock. If you can hold on until someone comes to save you, you'll be lucky. After saying that, Tang Yen was about to leave, but Song Qiaoji shouted again, trust me, I can find that woman. She's not Jinbo's person? She's not. I invited her from outside. After receiving this news, Tang Yen only thought of one possibility. Feng Shanshan might have been secretly transferred by that woman, and the purpose. When he thought of this, Tang Yan's heart tightened again, but he also relaxed a little. This was because she was not in Jinbo's hands, so her life was temporarily not in danger. However, what he was worried about was that Feng Shanshan might have been sold. Then he pulled Song Qiaoji up and told her very seriously, you can escape or choose to cooperate. I thought that the police were all righteous and wouldn't do such a thing. Song Qiaoji was a little surprised. According to my temper back then, I would have strangled you to death, tied you to a rock and thrown you into the sea. That's because the person you kidnapped is my lover. I'm already being extremely polite to you. Tang Yan's expression was cold, and his eyes were abnormally cold. This caused Song Qiaoji's body to tremble, and he took 2 steps back in fear. Because she believed that Tang Yen could really kill for Feng Shanshan. But you should also thank me. If I didn't take Feng Shanshan away and hide her, would you have been so easy to deal with Cheng Bin? After hearing this, Tang Yen frowned slightly. He did not understand. Go find him. I promise you. At this moment, the hospital was in a complete mess. When old Cheng came to deliver food this morning, he found that Tang Yen had already disappeared. He could not be found anywhere, and he did not bring any identification or other things. If Tang Yen had faced Cheng Bin as a police officer yesterday, then today he only wanted to be a husband and do what a man and a father should do. If he could not find Feng Shanshan, he did not want to return to the police force because he felt that his life had lost its meaning. For this reason, old Cheng went to Zhongting to look for Xing Xiao. However, Xing Xiao only gave him one sentence. Give him some time. Then he won't. Old Cheng was afraid that he would be impulsive and make a mistake. After all, which man would not go crazy when he encountered such a thing? That's also his choice. Old Cheng thought about it carefully. If it were him, he might not be able to do better, so he gave up. I understand. At this moment, Song Qiaoji brought Tang Yen to a housekeeping company near the apartment. How dare you kidnap someone so brazenly? Song Qiaoji did not answer him. She only found the woman's information from the housekeeping company and handed it to Tang Yen. It's this woman. Tang Yen struggled to support his body and fell to the ground. Song Qiaoji immediately wanted to help him up. How are you? You can run away now. Song Qiaoji shook her head. My identity has been exposed. Where else can I run to? Whether it's you or Dad, I can't explain it to them. I'll find Feng Shanshan first. And then you'll think of a way to trick her away. You'd better use all your connections to find her one step ahead of time. Otherwise, when my dad gets his hands on her, you won't be able to get anything. Tang Yen closed his eyes and calmed himself down. Then he sent the woman's information to old Cheng and Xing Xiao. Help me find her. Shanshan is in her hands. Since she was not in Jinbo's hands, wouldn't it be much easier? The police station and Xing Xiao began to work. I suddenly don't understand you. Tang Yen sat on the ground and looked at Song Qiaoji. You don't need to understand. Don't touch Bai Sini's case anymore. Someone from above will take over this case. Protect your wife and child well. You. Tang Yen was a little surprised, but it was only for a moment before he hid his emotions. Song Qiaoji seized the opportunity to grab the ashtray on the housekeeping company's desk and smash it at Tang Yan's head. Then she took the opportunity to escape. Sir, are you okay? Sir? The housekeeping company's staff had only gone to make tea. When they came back and saw this scene, they were shocked. Tang Yen covered his head and stood up. He couldn't care less about anything else now. Finding the person was more important. Tang Yen did not know how he spent the whole day and night. The police had found a lot of clues, but they did not find the person. But at least this could prove that the person had been taken away by the middle-aged woman and not Jinbo's men. As for Song Qiaoji, Tang Yen did not know if her words could be trusted or if they were good or bad. Dragging his heavily injured body, Tang Yen fainted on the street after taking 2 steps. When passers-by saw him, They immediately called the ambulance and he was sent back to the hospital. When he woke up again, it was already afternoon. When old Ching saw that Tang Yen had woken up, he quickly said, "Boss, did you have a nightmare?" "Don't worry, everyone is doing their best to find sister-in-law. We'll definitely find her. Don't sneak out again. When sister-in-law finds out, she'll definitely be very sad." Tang Yen sat on the hospital bed in a daze. He had never felt this way in so many years. "I'm afraid." Chapter 857. Old Ching could not take it anymore, so he swore, "We will definitely find sister-in-law. We will." Tang Yen could not speak and old Ching could not take it anymore. He was afraid that something would happen to Tang Yen again, so he immediately went to find a doctor. However, he had only gone out for 2 minutes. When he came back, Tang Yen was gone again. No one could protect a person who was about to go crazy. Xing Zhao's network went down and found some clues. The middle-aged woman who had taken Feng Shanshan away should have a gang, and they were moving between each other. Feng Shanshan was not an obedient and docile person. If she was sober, she would definitely think of a way to contact someone close to her or the police. However, the bad thing was that she was afraid that the other party would give her medicine. Adults could endure the torture, but what about the child in her womb? After an entire day of investigation, the police locked onto the suspect and the suspect's car. In the end, they found that the car with Feng Shanshan was speeding towards J City. That place was a mess and Jinbo had many eyes and ears. If Feng Shanshan was really taken there, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xing Xiao had promised Xiao Qi'er that he would give Tang Yen an explanation. Therefore, after receiving the news, he immediately asked Su Che to take action. "Don't drive. I know your motorcycle skills are very good. Take a shortcut and intercept them. You know the license plate number." After Tang Yen came out of the hospital, he immediately called Xiaolong to confirm the current progress. Although Xiaolong knew that he should not tell him, he still could not resist his interrogation, so he told him the license plate number and the direction in which Feng Shanshan was being sent. Tang Yen did not say anything. He went straight home. Enduring his injuries, he rode his motorcycle and chased after Su Che. Along the way, he thought like crazy that if that group of people dared to do anything to Feng Shanshan, he would not care about the consequences and make them die without a complete corpse. Time passed minute by minute, and the effects of the medicine on Feng Shanshan's body gradually faded. However, when she opened her eyes, other than the middle-aged woman who was looking at her, there was also a middle-aged man and a young man who was driving. "Where are you going? There's no room for you to ask. Rest." The middle-aged woman was still very stubborn. "Are you short of money? As long as you send me back, my husband will give you a lot of money." "We don't lack money, we lack women," the middle-aged man replied with a chuckle. Feng Shanshan lay in the car and did not dare to move. After all, she had not eaten anything since yesterday. Now her entire body was weak and did not have the slightest bit of strength. It seemed that she couldn't do anything to these 3 people now. But she missed Tang Yen. She didn't know how he was and whether he was still alive. Qingbin was so crazy. Something happened to Tang Yen, what would happen to her and the baby in the future? Thinking of this, Feng Shanshan could not help but feel sad, and tears flowed from the corner of her eyes. Perhaps seeing that she was sad, the middle-aged woman immediately said, "It's useless to cry. When you get there, serve your new man well. In the future he will make you comfortable." Feng Shanshan could not move and could only cry, because she knew what it meant. The truck was still moving forward. It was getting further and further away from Tang Yen. What should she do? What could she do? Along the way, Su Che ran at full speed, not daring to slack off at all. In only 2 hours he arrived at the exit of the highway ahead of time and waited at the toll booth. Then he took out a photo and the license plate number and said to everyone at the toll booth, "If you see this car, please stop it. My pregnant sister has been kidnapped. Please pay attention. The police are also chasing after her." After the toll collectors at the toll booth saw this, they silently remembered it in their hearts. About an hour later, the truck with the 2 license plates drove into the toll booth. The toll collector immediately informed his colleagues. However, they did not know what was going on. They were more afraid that Su Che was the bad guy, so after some discussion they stopped the car for inspection. Perhaps he realized that something was wrong, so the man driving the car wanted to break through the barrier and run away. However, before he could change gears and speed up, his body was pulled out of the window by a strong force. Then the toll collector immediately helped and controlled the car. "What are you doing? You're scaring my pregnant wife." The middle-aged woman immediately blocked Feng Shanshan, but Feng Shanshan pushed her away with difficulty. I don't know them. After Su Che dealt with the young man, he went to the front of the car and saw Feng Shanshan lying in the back. He immediately felt relieved. Su Che. When she saw Su Che, Feng Shanshan's tears immediately came out. At this moment, Tang Yan's car also arrived at the toll booth. He did not even stop the car and jumped off the motorcycle. He walked forward and saw Feng Shanshan lying in the car safely. Then he grabbed the middle-aged man and the woman in the car, threw them on the ground and beat them up. Enough. Su Che stopped Tang Yan. They are ordinary people. They can't withstand your fists. If they die, how are you going to take responsibility? Tang Yan's fist was covered in blood. He punched the road and the bones of his knuckles were exposed. Just wait to go to jail. If it weren't for the fact that he had to take care of Feng Shanshan, he would have torn these people into pieces. However, his only trace of rationality pulled at him. So, he stumbled to his feet, but after taking 2 steps he fell in front of the car. Captain Tang? Captain Tang? Feng Shanshan heard it and was very anxious. Tears flowed out uncontrollably. Why were there so many injuries on his body? Soon the ambulance and police car arrived. After understanding the situation, the 3 human traffickers were brought back to the police station, while Tang Yan and Feng Shanshan were sent to the nearest hospital. Su Che stood guard outside the operating theater with his arms crossed. He had not let Xing Xiao down. He had finally brought them back. However, looking at Tang Yan's crazy look, Su Che could not help but sigh. Something like this happened to Mu Qiqi, Xing Xiao would probably drop an atomic bomb on Jianchuan. Feng Shanshan had not inhaled much of the drug. Fortunately, it did not hurt the child in her stomach. However, Tang Yan's condition was much more serious. He had a fracture and a spleen rupture. He had to undergo a second surgery and he was bleeding profusely. If Feng Shanshan did not find him, he might die. Soon, Xing Xiao received news that the person had finally been found and was safe. However, if he was placed in a remote hospital, it was inevitable that Jin Bo's people would not target him. Therefore, Xing Xiao sent 10 bodyguards over. In addition to the people from the police station, even if Jin Bo had the intention, it was impossible for him to take advantage of the situation. Mu Qiqi, who was at home, finally heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 858. In the evening, J City was still shrouded in the setting sun. Feng Shanshan woke up and forced herself to sit up. Old Qing was guarding the door. When he heard the noise, he quickly turned around. Shanshan, you're finally awake. It's fine. Everything's fine. You and the child are fine. It's just that you didn't eat much, so your body is weak, Old Qing quickly said. I'll go heat up some food for you. Eat some first. Where's Tang Yan? Old Qing's expression froze when he heard Feng Shanshan ask about Tang Yan. Captain is still in the operating theater. He's been in there for more than 2 hours. When Feng Shanshan heard this, she struggled to get out of bed, but she was stopped by Old Qing. Shanshan, so many people went through so much trouble to save you, not to let you ruin yourself like this. Do you know? Last night, Captain Tang almost lost his life. He was so seriously injured. He got out of bed after the surgery just to find you. Feng Shanshan was stunned. I'm sorry? You don't have to say sorry. Captain Tang almost went crazy. We all have to thank you for being safe and sound. At this point, Old Cheng's eyes turned red. I've never seen Captain Tang lose control like that. Do you know? In the afternoon, he almost beat the 3 people who kidnapped you to death. In the past, I always thought that Captain Tang was a cold person and that women who followed him wouldn't be happy. But after watching Captain Tang for the past 2 days, I think you're worth it. I'll go heat up the food for you. Rest well first. When Captain Tang comes out, I'll tell you. Feng Shanshan didn't move. She paused and asked Old Qing, does Qiqi know? How can I not know? President Xing was involved the whole time. Isn't this all because of Qiqi? Then, can you lend me your phone? I'll tell them that I'm safe. That's right. After saying that, Old Qing took out his phone to unlock it and found Mu Qiqi's phone number. Qiqi is sick. Comfort her. Feng Shanshan nodded and dialed the number. Perhaps she knew that there was news, so Mu Qiqi picked up almost instantly. Senior Brother Qing, it's me. Feng Shanshan's eyes were red and her throat was burning. Qiqi, you damned woman, where have you been? Who are you trying to make? Mu Qiqi scolded her. Do you want to drive everyone crazy? Mu Qiqi scolded her. Do you want to drive everyone crazy? Sorry. Sorry my ass. Mu Qiqi couldn't help but curse. We'll settle the score when you come back. You should rest first. Okay, Feng Shanshan answered with a sobbing tone. The two of them did not say much because they could not explain everything in a few words. Right now, Feng Shanshan was most worried about Tang Yan. Soon, senior brother Ching entered the ward with a bowl of porridge and handed it to her. This is the first time I've taken care of a woman. Please make do with it. Feng Shanshan had no appetite now, but in order not to worry others, she still obediently ate a big bowl. Captain Tang is out of danger. He can come out of the operating room in 10 minutes. So you can rest assured, right? Feng Shanshan nodded while crying, although she could not help but want to go to Tang Yan's side. Meanwhile, Su Che returned to Jianchuan to report to Xing Xiao. You've worked hard, we've saved him, but the conflict with Jin Bo in the future is inevitable, Su Che answered. Xing Xiao handed the information that his secretary had sent him in the afternoon to Su Che. Didn't I ask you to investigate his relationship with the Song family? Now he's moved all his educational institutions and financial companies to Jianchuan. He wants to compete with you, President. Su Che took it and started reading. We'll talk about this in the future. Keep an eye on Tang Yan. You've worked hard during this period of time. Get off work early today. Xing Xiao picked up his coat and planned to go home. Okay. Su Che was stunned for a moment, but he still nodded. This was because being by Xing Xiao's side made him busy. Now that he was free, he suddenly did not know what to do. After all, he was a person who had nothing to worry about. Thinking of this, Su Che rode his bike to J City. It was better to help watch over him tonight. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Tang Yin finally got off the operating table and was sent to the general ward. However, the doctor gave him a death order. You must stay in bed for half a month. Otherwise, don't even think about keeping your life. The current Tang Yin was even more spectacular than in the morning. He was almost wrapped in gauze like a mummy. Feng Shanshan was finally able to enter his ward. Old Qing borrowed a wheelchair and pushed her to Tang Yan's bedside. Seeing that there was not a single part of this man's body that was unharmed, Feng Shanshan held Tang Yan's face with both hands and buried her head in tears. When old Qing saw this, he quietly left the ward and considerately closed the door. Perhaps it was because he had been worried about her, so Tang Yan opened his eyes and saw Feng Shanshan in front of him. He opened his mouth, but he could not say anything. His voice was as hoarse as sandpaper rubbing against a stone. When Feng Shanshan saw him open his eyes, she could not help but cry out. How could you do this? How could you be so injured? It's good that you're fine. Tang Yin moistened his throat and squeezed out these words with difficulty. Are you stupid? Who asked you to work so hard? I don't need it, you know? Seeing you like this, I'd rather be the one hurt. Nonsense. Tang Yin immediately stopped her. How can a man let his woman get hurt? Besides, you're still pregnant with my child. How can I let you get hurt? Do you know that I wish I could? I know everything. You fool, I know everything. Feng Shanshan lay on Tang Yan's chest and cried bitterly. What should I do if something happens to you? Have you ever thought about it? Tang Yan did not say anything and let her cry because he knew that she had been worried and wronged for the past 2 days. Now, if she cried, she would be able to vent all the negative emotions in her heart. I don't know anything, because I only know that without you by my side, I'd rather die. Shanshan, it wasn't until the moment you disappeared that I deeply understood how important you are to me. Don't leave me in the future, okay? I can't take this kind of loss anymore. Feng Shanshan lay on Tang Yan's chest and kept nodding. Tears welled up in her eyes. I won't leave you again even if I die. Tang Yan wanted to get up and kiss Feng Shanshan's forehead, but he pulled at his wound. Seeing this, Feng Shanshan could not help but laugh angrily. Who told you to move around? After saying that, she leaned over and kissed Tang Yan's dry lips. I'll be by your side forever. We won't be separated. Chapter 859. Soon the police reported Qing Bin's case. However, Qing Bin had been executed and Song Qiaoji had failed to hold on to Feng Shanshan. Jin Bo was furious and began to suspect if Shen Kai had contacted Xing Xiao. After all, the night before the incident, Jin Bo and Qing Bin had spoken on the phone. If this mission failed, it meant that someone had leaked information to Xing Xiao. This person was none other than Shen Kai. Song Qiaoji took advantage of Tang Yan's injury to escape home. Jin Bo could not blame her. Even if she was wild, she was still his daughter. Being hung on a cliff by Tang Yan, she would definitely be afraid. Moreover, at that time he was heartless and did not care about his daughter's life or death. Song Qiaoji did not hold a grudge against him. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame the person who had informed Xing Xiao. Then Jinbo had Xing Kai tied up and locked in a small dark room where he could not see the light of day. He had his men interrogate him. "Co Xing, what Mr. Jin hates the most in his life is betrayal. He trusted you so much and even handed Changrong Electronics over to you. Aren't you letting him down?" Xing Kai's hands were tied and he hung in the air. His expression was a little wooden. "I don't know what you're talking about. If you hadn't tipped Xing Xiao off, how would he have known that Miss Song was helping Qing Bin? I don't know what you're talking about. The Sheng family and I are irreconcilable. How could I help Xing Xiao? It looks like you want to taste something even more powerful." In the dark and boundless room, Xing Kai's screams could be heard. Mixed with the humidity of the basement, it could not help but make one's heart tremble. After Song Qiaoji's identity was exposed, of course, she could not return to the hospital to work, so she followed Jin Bo to serve him. "Mr. Jin," Xing Kai still refuses to confess. He insists that he doesn't know anything. The interrogator tortured Xing Kai for an entire night, but he did not get anything out of him. "I'd rather kill 1,000 wrongly than let one go. Xing Xiao made me lose 2 helpers and even save Tang Yen. It's not too much for me to make the Sheng family lose 1 person. Dad, Qingbin didn't tell Xing Kai about me. Why is Xing Kai to blame?" Song Qiaoji did not understand. "And think about it, if Xing Kai had known, Xing Xiao wouldn't have allowed me to stay by Feng Shanshan's side for so long. Didn't you have a use for him? Why are you venting your anger on him now?" After Jin Bo heard this, he looked at his daughter in confusion. "Are you sure he doesn't know? Think about it. Qingbin went crazy for revenge. Why would he tell Xing Kai about such an important matter?" Song Qiaoji asked Jin Bo in return. "Just to test whether Xing Kai is loyal or not." Jin Bo thought about it and felt that it made sense. "But now, I've already used a heavy punishment. If you really want to keep Xing Kai as a pawn, then leave him to me. I promise that he will never betray you," Song Qiaoji promised Jin Bo. "Your brother will be back soon. Take care of these things quickly." Jin Bo's reply was a tacit agreement. Why did he insist on keeping Xing Kai alive? Because after his son returned, he would make even bigger moves against Jianchuan. At that time, it would not be easy to find a scapegoat. A person as suitable as Xing Kai was 1 in a million. Song Qiaoji nodded and went to the basement. Seeing the man covered in wounds, Song Qiaoji felt that this was the most manly Xing Kai had ever been. She had used so many tools to extort a confession, but he did not say a single word. Then Song Qiaoji had someone send the unconscious Xing Kai to her new residence. Then she personally stitched up Xing Kai and applied medicine. Because there was no anesthetic, Xing Kai woke up. When he saw Song Qiaoji, he frowned and looked defensive. "Don't move. You're seriously injured now. If you want to live well, then listen to my arrangements." As Song Qiaoji applied the medicine for him, she said to him seriously, "You know your situation. If you follow my father, you'll only die. Although I don't know who pushed you in back then, I believe that the Sheng family wants to drag you out." "You, our godfather's daughter? Although I'm his daughter, I'm just one of his many daughters. I'm not worth much," Song Qiaoji explained. "Because of your news, Xing Xiao saved Tang Yen, but you're in danger because of it. Do you blame him?" Xing Kai didn't know what to feel. The reason why he gritted his teeth was because he knew that as long as he admitted it, there would only be a path to death. "I'm not as noble as you think. I hate the Sheng family. This is deep-rooted. Besides, I'm not helping him. I'm just helping myself. After you leave my door, don't trust anyone, especially my father. But you have to pretend to obey him. That way you'll live longer." After Xing Kai heard this, he sneered. "You should know your role. From the beginning, you were the scapegoat that my father chose. As for whether you were going to replace him or my brother in the end, no one knows. Then why are you doing this?" Xing Kai looked up at Song Qiaoji. "You're Jin Bo's daughter. Why, whether you believe it or not, I want you to live." After saying that, Song Qiaoji helped him treat all his wounds. "Life isn't as bad as you think. Many things are caused by the demons in your heart. You're not as bad as you think. Just because I helped Xing Xiao." Xing Kai sneered coldly. "If I had known that I would suffer such torture, I wouldn't have. You knew. You know what kind of person my father is." Xing Kai didn't say anything after being directly cut off by Song Qiaoji. "Because you trust your brother, Xing Xiao, more from the bottom of your heart. You seem to know the Sheng family very well. If you want to deal with an enemy, you have to understand their internal conflicts, don't you?" Song Qiaoji's words were also a little sarcastic. You can sleep here today. When you go back tomorrow, think about what I said. I don't understand you. Tang Yin had said the same thing yesterday. There's food in the fridge. If you're hungry, you can eat it yourself. After saying that, Song Qiaoji put away the medical kit, took her bag and hurried out the door. She was also involved in the kidnapping of Feng Shanshan. Originally, this matter could have been resolved perfectly, but there was a problem with the middle-aged woman. If Tang Yin wanted to pursue the matter, then so be it. However, she didn't worry about this matter because Jin Bo would definitely think of a way to suppress it for her. Shen Kai touched his wound and sat motionless on the sofa. Because he suddenly realized that other than Gu Ziling's family, he also hated himself the most. Sheng Zhao's words of letting bygones be bygones almost made him pay with his life. Chapter 860. Tang Yin had a fever for a day and a night. In the evening he was transferred to the hospital in Jianchuan. When Professor Tang and Mrs. Tang received the news, they rushed to the hospital. When they saw their nephew in such a state, Professor Tang almost cried. Shanshan, you haven't slept for a day and a night. Now that Tang Yin is back, your aunt and I are here to guard him. You should go back and rest. Professor Tang saw Feng Shanshan's haggard face and quickly persuaded her. Now that Qing Bin has been brought to justice and there are so many police officers accompanying him, don't drag yourself down. When the time comes, won't his heart ache? That's right, Shanshan. Go back and pack some clothes for Tang Yin, Mrs. Tang said as she grabbed Feng Shanshan's hand. Feng Shanshan wanted to wait for Tang Yin to wake up, but when she thought of her own condition, she did not insist. Xiao Xing felt guilty about Feng Shanshan being kidnapped, so she walked up to Feng Shanshan and lowered her head. Sister-in-law, I'll send you home. This time I promise to complete the mission. Okay. Feng Shanshan did not blame her at all. Soon Xiao Xing sent Feng Shanshan back to the villa. However, when she opened the door, she heard Mu Qiqi's voice behind her. Feng Shanshan turned around and saw her. Her eyes reddened. Mu Qiqi did not say anything. She went forward and hugged her. Were you trying to scare to death? I'm sorry, I haven't slept well for the past 2 days. Dark circles have appeared under my eyes. It's all your fault. Mu Qiqi gently patted her shoulder. Do you know how much I wanted to come down from above? I tried my best to hold it in. Then I thought, if this person really doesn't come back, what should I do in the future? Who should I take revenge on? At that moment, Feng Shanshan could not say anything. She could only let Mu Qiqi vent her anger. Because she knew that Mu Qiqi had been suffering for the past 2 days. Then Feng Shanshan saw Xing Xiao behind Mu Qiqi. She let go of Mu Qiqi and walked up to Xing Xiao. She bowed deeply. Thank you, Xiao Xing. Xing Xiao did not answer. Instead, Mu Qiqi helped her up. At least you're decent. Come in. I'll go pack some clothes for Tang Yin and get Xiao Xing to bring them over. After confirming that you're fine, I'll go home. Mu Qiqi shook her head. Whenever she brought Feng Shanshan with her, she would feel extremely anxious. She was afraid that Xing Xiao would be threatened like Tang Yin. Okay, then you can go back. I bought you a new phone. Don't lose it again. Before Mu Qiqi left, she took out her phone from her bag and handed it to Feng Shanshan. Look at how worried I am. I got it. Let's go back. There are 2 of you now. Mu Qiqi hugged her again before walking up to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao held her neck and brought her back to the banyan courtyard. In fact, Xing Xiao knew very well that seeing Feng Shanshan go through this made her very panicked and uneasy. Actually, you don't have to worry so much. Xing Xiao stood behind her and said in a low voice, your man is not so easily tricked. But I'll be tricked very easily. Mu Qiqi did not have that confidence in herself. Xing Xiao knew that she felt sorry for him, so he did not say anything else. He took a step forward and held her hand. After accompanying her home, he went out again because he had not heard from Shen Kai for 2 days. If Shen Kai was suspected by Jin Bo, then no matter what method he used to contact Shen Kai, it would only push Shen Kai deeper into the abyss. Although Tang Yin and Jin Bo were the ones who had fought with Qing Bin, the ones who were really competing in the dark were him and Jin Bo. Once Qing Bin died, Jin Bo's fear of him would definitely deepen. Similarly, he had to drag Shen Kai out of the abyss as soon as possible. Mu Qiqi watched Xing Xiao go out. Although she really wanted to see Tang Yin, she did not want to experience such a thrilling separation because she did not believe that she would be lucky enough to be safe. Mama Xing seemed to have seen through her thoughts and said, Xiao Qi, actually, you don't have to be so nervous. Mommy, you have to be nervous. There's a 100% chance of an accident happening. Before that person is caught, I'll try my best not to leave the house. Anyway, the outside world is saying that I'm seriously ill. If I go out, wouldn't it attract attention again? Mama Sheng stroked her hair with heartache. You care too much about eighth brother. Is that so? Yes. Mama Sheng nodded. There's nothing wrong with that. I admit it. It was only a few months, not a lifetime. Mu Chichi did not think of this as so tragic. Besides, weren't all celebrities like this when they got pregnant? She enjoyed it and did not feel that there was anything to feel sorry for. In the afternoon, Zhongting. Su Che followed Xing Zhao's instructions and went to inquire about Sheng Kai. In the end, he found out that Sheng Kai had already returned home. He's covered in injuries. He must have been tortured, but Jin Bo let him go. This doesn't seem like Jin Bo's style. Xing Xiao frowned and his expression was fierce. Su Che had been with him for so long, so he more or less knew that this was a sign before he got angry. What does the president plan to do next? I'll drag Sheng Kai back now. Jin Bo will definitely try his best to get rid of him because he already knows a lot of Jin Bo's secrets. Unless he's still useful, Jin Bo won't keep him alive. After saying this, Xing Xiao fell into deep thought. How big of a trap would he have to set for Sheng Kai to be safe? Or could it be that he had to figure out what happened 25 years ago and fight Jin Bo head-on? Would there be an end to this matter? Xing Xiao thought that he should go to the Shen family again tonight. After Sheng Kai was saved by Song Qiaoji and returned home, he saw Jin Bo at home. Because his body was covered in injuries, it helped him hide his emotions, so Jin Bo could not see the fear and disgust on Sheng Kai's face. Kai, don't blame me for being so strict with you. I'm afraid. I know, Sheng Kai replied lightly. Come, sit on the sofa. Jin Bo pointed at the sofa and said, I believe you know that Qiaoji is my daughter. If you like her, let her take care of you. She's more considerate than that tigress at home. Godfather, Miss Song is your daughter. I won't have any improper thoughts. It's okay. In a few days, my eldest son will be returning to China. At that time, I'll introduce you to him. Also, I'll announce in public that you're my godson. In the future, I won't let anyone bully you. Thank you, Godfather. Sheng Kai did not forget Song Qiaoji's instructions. He had to obey him and not disobey him. Only then could he truly save his life. What are you thanking me for? After pretending to care, Jin Bo comforted Sheng Kai and left his house. Then Sheng Kai saw a photo of him and Gu Xiling. Everything started with Gu Xiling's grandfather. Chapter 861. After nightfall, Xing Xiao brought Mu Chichi back to the Shen family. Old Master Shen saw that the little one looked good. As if presenting a treasure, he led Mu Chichi to the study and gave her a brocade box. This is my gift for my little great-grandson. Grandpa, you're too stingy. Grandpa Xing knew that I was pregnant, but he said he would give me all of Huang Yao's shares. Mu Chichi deliberately teased him. How can that be the same? Your grandpa isn't a businessman. He can't take out tens of thousands. If you want it, then take it. If not, then forget it. The old man was angry and turned his back to Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi chuckled and hugged the old man's arm. I'll be happy with whatever you give me, Grandpa. Hindsight. So, Grandpa, be more generous. Don't be outdone by your little great-grandson. The old man pouted. He was stunned by this little one's coaxing. Xing Xiao could not help but laugh secretly when he saw this. This little one was actually making fun of her grandfather. Xing Xiao turned around and went to Xin Jianchuan's antique room. He saw that he was wearing a vest and standing in the middle of a pile of antiques. He did not feel out of place at all. Xin Jianchuan returned to his room and asked, Did the matter with Tang Yen go smoothly? It's precisely because it went too smoothly that there's a hidden danger. Xing Xiao looked up at his father-in-law. Sheng Kai. Xin Jianchuan thought for a moment and sat down on the sofa. This is really a problem. The battle with Jin Bo is just the beginning. I don't know how many years this path will take. Now that Sheng Kai is stuck in the middle, it's really uncomfortable. Do you have any thoughts? Xing Xiao shook his head. Sheng Kai has a lot of thoughts and is not easy to control. Even if we set a plan for him today, he will soon be able to overthrow it himself. Brother is yours. You know better than us what kind of person he is. If you really want to pull him back, put him in the most obvious place so that Jin Bo won't have the strength to deal with him. I think this is probably old Master Sheng's wish, right? Xing Xiao did not answer, but Xin Jianchuan laughed. It's not strange at all. This is the human heart. After saying this, Xin Jianchuan glanced at Xing Xiao again. All these years, you haven't been forced by old Master Sheng into a headstrong personality. You've shouldered the responsibilities of a man well. Xing Xiao turned to Mu Qiqi, who was outside the door. If it hadn't appeared, perhaps he would still be the cynical crown prince. In this life there would not be much change. Jinbo's son, you'll be back in a few days, right? So you don't have to worry. Sheng Kai's matter lacks an opportunity. He's being suspected now. It's best if you don't care and let Jinbo be completely at ease. Outside the door, Mu Qiqi was very impatient. She poked her head into the room and said, I've never seen a father-in-law and son-in-law like you. You talk so much. Go out and accompany her, Xin Jianchuan said to Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao nodded slightly and stood up. He was dragged to the sofa by Mu Qiqi, looking angry. Grandpa, let me tell you, I found a helper. I don't believe that my master Xiao can't beat you. Eighth brother, let's play? Don't cry if you lose, Xing Xiao said proudly. After resting in the hospital for 3 days, Tang Yin wanted to get out of bed and walk again. When Feng Shanshan saw him get up, she felt as if a knife was being twisted in her heart. When Feng Shanshan's eyes turned red, Tang Yin could only surrender. Okay, I won't get out of bed. Do you think you only suffered a few punches? A few of your ribs were clearly broken, Feng Shanshan said as she wiped her tears. I just want to go to the bathroom. Why didn't you say so earlier? I'll support you. Feng Shanshan's face was completely red as she helped Tang Yin to the bathroom. You've already seen it. Why are you still shy? Seeing that she was avoiding him, Tang Yin could not help but want to tease her. That's different. Feng Shanshan helped him back to the bed. Then the nurse did her rounds. That night, the entire ward became quiet. Feng Shanshan had been sleeping on the bed next to Tang Yin for the past 2 days, which made him very uncomfortable. Will you sleep beside me tonight? But you're injured. I just want to hug you. I want to make sure you're by my side, Tang Yin said softly. Feng Shanshan had no ability to resist at all, so she nodded. Then be gentle. I'm afraid it'll tear your wound. The two of them lay quietly on the bed. Tang Yin took a deep breath behind Feng Shanshan. Qing Bin's matter has finally come to an end. Okay. Feng Shanshan nodded. From now on, no one will threaten your safety. You knew that I wasn't in Qing Bin's hands, so why did you still go to the appointment? Because I want him to die. I don't want innocent people to sacrifice themselves for us. When he said this, Tang Yan's tone was very sharp. Feng Shanshan could not help but tremble. It's just that I went crazy, but Xing Xiao made me disappear in a reasonable manner. This person is too scary, because he knows that Qing Bin is you're not. This is the best outcome. Not wanting to mention that name again, Tang Yin hugged Feng Shanshan tightly and said, Sleep. I'll be by your side, always. Without the threat, Feng Shanshan finally relaxed and had a good night's sleep. Late at night, it was drizzling in Jianchuan. When Mu Qiqi woke up and saw that there was no one beside her, she knew that Xing Xiao was still in the study. So, she put on her coat and quietly pushed open the door of the study. In the room, Xing Xiao was wearing a black shirt. There was an indescribable sexiness to him, especially when he revealed his collarbone. Mu Qiqi felt that she was about to have a nosebleed from this man. What's the problem? It's so late and you're still not sleeping? Xing Xiao saw her sitting on him and subconsciously hugged her. Shen Kai. What happened to Shen Kai? He spread the news and was targeted by Jinbo. He's been tortured for a few days. After Mu Qiqi heard this, she wrapped her arms around Xing Xiao's neck. My man, right? There's always a way to solve problems. In this world, there's nothing that can't stop him. It's just that you haven't thought of it yet. Your trap is full of tricks and strange tricks. You can even pull Captain Tang back, let alone a mere Shen Kai. Thank you for thinking so highly of me. Xing Xiao looked at this thing and scoffed. My son and I will cheer for you. I want a daughter, Xing Xiao answered as he looked at her belly. No, I just want to bully my son. Who told you to always bully me here? My son is like you. I feel comfortable bullying him. You're a medical student. Don't you know that the chances of a son resembling a mother are higher? Mu Qiqi was speechless. It was said that a pregnant woman would be stupid for 3 years. She was only 2 months pregnant and she was already this stupid? But I still want a son. Moreover, I've already chosen a name. Fifth aunt said that the child's name should be grand. I don't think it's grand enough. It has to be domineering, so? If I really have a son, I'll call him Xing Batian. Chapter 862. Sheng Kai was seriously injured and recuperating at home, but there was no one around to change his dressing. Song Qiaoji knew that he was in such a predicament, so she drove overnight to Shinkai's house. Shinkai opened the door and was surprised. "You're a single woman. Isn't it inappropriate for you to go to a married man's house?" Song Qiaoji carried the medical kit and didn't seem to hold any grudges. "I'm a doctor and you're a patient. This is a very normal thing to do abroad. Why do you have to hold a grudge? Sit down." Shinkai sat on the sofa and took off his shirt. The densely packed bandages were covered in blood. Song Qiaoji sat down to change his dressing and saw Shinkai tilting his head to look at her from time to time. Song Qiaoji couldn't help but laugh. "Are you curious about me? Shouldn't I be?" She was Jinbo's daughter, but she did things that went against Jinbo in every way. She said that she was a good person, but she also planned to kidnap Feng Shanshan. Shinkai felt that he really couldn't understand this woman. "There's no absolute good or bad in this world. I believe you understand this the best." Song Qiaoji treated Shinkai's wounds and then helped him put on his shirt. "You can't get wet for the next few days. What are your plans next?" Shinkai leaned back and rested his elbows on the sofa. He smiled bitterly. "What plans can I have? I'm just meat on someone else's chopping board. Then let me tell you my thoughts. I want to collect evidence of Jinbo's crimes." Shinkai was taken aback. I'm an undercover police agent." Shinkai didn't say anything. He just looked at Song Qiaoji. "How so?" "It's a long story. I participated in the secret training to avenge my mother. Jinbo was the person who killed my mother, so I swore that I would definitely find evidence of his crimes. This time, Baisini's case alarmed the higher-ups, so they used my identity to get me to collect more evidence of Jinbo's crimes." "You are his daughter, but you can't even get close to him?" "He has many daughters, but they're just using him. My status is about the same as Xin Yu's," Song Qiaoji said mockingly. "Of course, you can also take credit from my father and tell him that I'm an undercover police agent. I do want to do that, but the consequence is that there won't be anyone to bandage my wounds in the future." Shinkai was very clear. "So, in the future if I need you to act, just cooperate with me. We'll do our best to protect each other." Song Qiaoji put away the medical kit and smiled at Shinkai. "If you still want to return to the Sheng family." From Jinbo's attitude toward Song Qiaoji, she was indeed not lying. To Jinbo, although Song Qiaoji was his daughter, she was still a woman. Women were lethal weapons, nothing else. "If there's a chance in the future, I'll tell you more. You should rest today. There are people watching you outside." "Thanks. My brother will be back in a few days. You have to deal with him carefully. His name is Song Boji and he's a very difficult person to deal with." With that, Song Qiaoji picked up the medical kit. "I'm leaving. I'll see you off." Shinkai walked Song Qiaoji to the door and watched her drive away. But then a familiar figure entered his sight. "Shinkai, are you so unscrupulous when it comes to women nowadays? Don't forget we haven't divorced yet." "Then let's get divorced," Shinkai answered without thinking. Gu Xiling was flustered and exasperated. She pushed open the door that Shinkai wanted to close. "You're doing this for that woman?" "Gu Xiling, I'm only going to strangle the people of the Gu family to death now. If you still want to live, don't appear in front of me again. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I won't come and take your grandfather's life one day." Shinkai sat on the sofa, his words filled with warning. "Don't be cheap in front of me anymore. Divorce is good for everyone. You think you can divorce just because you want to? I don't agree. I'll send someone to deliver the divorce agreement to you another day. If you don't sign it, I'll cause trouble for your grandfather." Gu Xiling froze for a moment before she was pushed out of the house by Shinkai. Gu Xiling knocked on the door unwillingly, but Shinkai had no intention of paying any attention to her. "Shinkai, you bastard. I won't divorce you. Wouldn't they just torture each other to death?" In the past few days, the Jianchuan business world had been in a state of turmoil. The financial and education industries had welcomed a formidable opponent. The CEO of the Yashang Group had shifted his focus to the south. This outstanding person from the financial industry was now going to take root in Jianchuan. His name was Song Boji. Previously, Xing Xiao had asked Su Che to investigate the relationship between Jinbo and the Song family. But now there was no need for that. Not only that, but even the relationship between Song Qiaoji and the others had been sorted out. The Song family did not intend to hide anymore. They wanted to show their faces in public and face it head-on. A few days later, the CEO of the Yashang Group was going to hold a grand reception at Dynasty Hotel. Of course, Zhongting was also invited. After receiving the invitation, Xing Xiao wanted to meet this descendant of the Song family. Sheng Kai has been resting in the company for the past few days. He'll probably appear at the reception, Su Che said as he stood in front of Xing Xiao. Jin Bo has declared war on the Sheng and Shin families at this reception. So, it's very likely that Sheng Kai will become a pawn for him to humiliate the Sheng family. Xing Xiao sat on the chair and said with mixed emotions. Then, should we set up a trap? Oh, wishful thinking? Only now do I feel that he has some temper. Do you think he's so easy to manipulate and listen to advice? But in the end he still helped you, Su Che said. If he hadn't hinted at that woman, then we wouldn't have been able to save Feng Shanshan. We'll talk about it at the reception. A strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. Even if the Song family is arrogant, they'll have to ask me first. After all, Jin Bo didn't get any benefits a few times. What about young madam? I'll tell her about this, but she won't go. Now that she was sick, there was no need to cause more trouble. This was also Mu Qiqi's own intention. Actually, Mu Qiqi also knew that there had been new people appearing in Jianchuan recently. After all, the newspapers and news were all on the front page. But that was not something she should ask about. She was too busy with the handicrafts at home. Xiaoqi, don't you think it's weird to match red and blue? Mama Sheng frowned when she saw her holding 2 balls of brightly colored wool. Really? Mu Qiqi was stunned for a moment. I think it's pretty good. You're really a science student? Mama Sheng glared at her and replaced the 2 balls of wool in her hands with light pink and light blue. Isn't this much more comfortable? Mu Qiqi was stunned for a moment. She hesitated. So I'm really not suitable for this. Who was the one who vowed to make toys for the baby? My poor Badian. Sigh. Mu Qiqi could not help but feel sad when she thought about how she did not have any artistic talent. Who's Badian? Mama Sheng did not understand. Mu Qiqi pointed at her lower abdomen. The one inside. Chapter 863. When Xing Xiao returned home, he saw such a scene. Mu Qiqi was squatting beside Papa Sheng and watching him paint. At the same time, she also learned what aesthetics were. Eighth brother, you're back. Mama Sheng looked at her son with a smile. Xing Xiao did not understand and frowned slightly. However, he saw Mama Sheng take out a few semi-finished products and give them to Xing Xiao. Your son is blessed. The semi-finished products in her hands were either strange in color or strange in workmanship. Anyway, none of them were normal. Even if he thought with his toes, he would know whose masterpiece this was. The shockingly ugly cufflinks back then were her masterpiece. Of course, other than the set of bookmarks, they were still well behaved and did not make any big mistakes. Mu Qiqi saw that Xing Xiao was holding a few things in his hands and her face immediately turned red. I'm not done yet. Stop. Don't waste resources, Xing Xiao advised her mercilessly. But, I shouldn't have believed that you can make anything good. Your hands are only beautiful when you cut up corpses. Mu Qiqi pursed her lips and did not say anything. It's not the first time you know what kind of woman you are. Xing Xiao took the things to the study, but he shamelessly placed the semi-finished products on his desk. When Mu Qiqi saw this, the corners of her mouth twitched. It's so ugly. Why did you put it there? It can still be salvaged. Xing Xiao took off his coat and sat in front of the desk. Since it's a toy for the child, I should also contribute. How can you be any better than me? Mu Qiqi did not believe it. Feeling sleepy, she fell asleep in Xing Xiao's arms. Xing Xiao hugged her helplessly with one hand, but there was nothing he could do. He could only let these things be ugly for now. In a few days he would not be able to bring these things to the Yashang group reception. Su Che suggested bringing his secretary, but when he thought about how someone else was hanging on his arm, Xing Xiao immediately rejected it. I'll go alone. This was because he had mental cleanliness. He only recognized this one thing in his life, so there was no room for others to touch any part of his body. 2 days later, Xing Kai really sent Gu Xiling the divorce agreement. When Mama Gu saw it, she was very happy. Hurry up and sign it. That piece of trash will let you live. Thank God. However, Gu Xiling was dismissive. Mom, I won't sign it. It's all because of him that I became like this. Now he wants to kick me away and find a new lover? This is impossible. Can't you see that he's going crazy and wants to hit someone? How long are you going to continue wasting time with him? Mama Gu was puzzled. You don't have any feelings for him. Why bother? It's true that I don't have feelings for you, but I'm not willing to give up. After that, Gu Xiling tore the divorce agreement into pieces. I will never get a divorce in this life, never. Mama Gu let out a long sigh. She felt that her daughter was probably crazy. Gu Xiling also felt that she was crazy, but so what? I'm going to contact the woman who came to me that day. I'm going to ask her why she seduced a married man. Gu Xiling waited at Xing Kai's door for 2 days and 2 nights. That night, she saw Song Qiaoji drive to Xing Kai's door with a medical kit. Then Xing Kai opened the door and brought her in. Gu Xiling was about to go crazy when she saw this scene. The person who went in also knew that someone was watching outside the door. When Song Qiaoji took out the gauze and medicine, she asked Xing Kai, "Aren't you afraid that your wife will misunderstand? I've already sent her the divorce agreement." Xing Kai took off his shirt, revealing the hideous wounds on his body. "But I don't think she thinks so." Song Qiaoji sat beside Xing Kai and used a pair of scissors to remove the gauze for him. "I think you can be more decisive." Xing Kai was a little strange and tilted his head to look at Song Qiaoji. "I know who she is and what kind of person she is. Even if you're on the verge of death, she'll only quarrel with you, cause trouble for you, and trample on your self-esteem, right?" Song Qiaoji concluded. "You know very well what kind of dangerous place you're in now. Don't let these feelings drag you down." Xing Kai's mind was very clear. "I understand. If you need anything, you can ask me for help." Xing Kai didn't say anything, but deep in his heart, he wanted such warmth. Especially during this period of time, Song Qiaoji had been caring about him. However, he was afraid that Song Qiaoji would be the second abyss. Moreover, the relationship between Song Qiaoji and Jinbo was too complicated. He was alone and probably didn't have the ability to interfere at all. "Why aren't you saying anything? I think we should keep our distance." When Song Qiaoji heard this, she immediately laughed. "It's really rare for you to be able to remain clear-headed when I deliberately approached you with a vague attitude. However, if you're with me, my father will trust you more. Why did you approach me? I'm just a scapegoat? I don't have any power or influence and I can't help you complete your mission. Besides, I don't have the ability. I think you've suffered a lot from that woman. She shouldn't be by your ear. Stop talking about your incompetence, right?" Song Qiaoji smiled. "You secretly helped Xing Xiao and helped him save Feng Shanshan. This is your ability." Xing Kai didn't reply, but Song Qiaoji's words stirred up 1,000 waves in his heart. "If you leave her, you'll be reborn. A bug like Gu Xiling should be left to rot on her own." Song Qiaoji bluntly evaluated Gu Xiling in front of Xing Kai. "The medicine has been changed. Rest. My brother will be back tomorrow and Jianchuan will be bloody again." Xing Kai nodded and watched as Song Qiaoji got up. When she was about to leave, he asked, "What do I have to do to be considered as truly getting close to Jinbo?" "You can't afford that price." After saying this, Song Qiaoji closed the door. Outside the door, Gu Xiling and Song Qiaoji looked at each other. The first thing she said was, "He's really impotent. You've only been in there for less than 20 minutes. Miss Gu, let's talk." Since they were going to fight head-on, Song Qiaoji didn't run away. "What identity do you use to talk to me?" "Xing Kai's future wife. What do you think?" Song Qiaoji smiled. "Get in the car. Let's go drink something nearby." Gu Xiling's expression was very ugly, but she was also deeply provoked by Song Qiaoji. The two of them found a cafe nearby and chose the most inconspicuous booth. "I won't agree to a divorce." "That's not up to you," Song Qiaoji said. "Do you believe it? As long as I tell your grandfather, he'll ask you to sign it immediately." "Who, exactly are you?" You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.